Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the SCWRM Cinematic Universe. Why do I mention that? Well, we brought in quite a few of our guest stars today from previous ventures across all eras.
All from previous years.
We have the game developer herself, Pixy.
Hello.
The artiste, Jay.
Hiya.
And the up-and-rising Canadian star, Failinhearts.
Please help me, I'm being held hostage. Who are you people?
And the Blue Zone Comms leader, Deji.
Don't let him. He's just joking. We're all joking here.
So we're here today to look at the latest of Sony's showcases to see just what they have, and in my personal guess, we'll be trying to use to essentially fill the hole that used to be their E3 show along with everyone else's.
I think it's about to start.
Actually, it is starting.
Sony conferences always let me down, so I can't wait to be disappointed again.
Buckle up, because we said it's 1 hour, so we'll have to see how much space they dedicate to each announcement.
What is this ESR?
Since we got the chance right now, let me just say what you will about these showcases, I will at the end of it, but at the very least they show up. Nintendo, where are your directs?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if they give us a June one. Okay, let's be honest. I wouldn't be surprised.
They'll finally announce a Switch Pro here in PlayStation.
I wouldn't be surprised if all the big companies eventually give us a show in June.
Wow,
since
it's a good thing Shiro is not here for this beginning.
It seems that E3 now is dead.
Nintendo's
Yeah, no,
The Wicked Witch is dead.
Alright, first trailer.
Oh, PlayStation Studios from Haven.
Right,
From
What do we
PlayStation
have?
Studios. It's pronounced
Tron 3! Yes!
Oh, this is Payday 3.
Take their money.
Cheat the rich.
Maybe not. Maybe it's not Payday 3.
Seems like everyone does these days. It's simple.
Top 5 billionaires.
Wait, is this Hitman?
Okay, no, it's apparently a Sony proper IP. I don't think, because, so it cannot be Watch Dogs. Is it?
Are you sure about that?
Oh, it's not Watch Dogs.
Does
Ubisoft, PlayStation Studios. It can't be
Oh,
Watch
God.
Dogs.
Does anyone have, oh, I think it's one of their multiplayer titles. Okay.
It definitely looks like a MOBA, or
It
like not a MOBA,
does.
but like a multiplayer game. Yeah.
It does look a bit like Watch Dogs, I won't lie.
Oh wow, I love GeForce.
Hey, who knows?
I mean, it looks
someone
so-
might take Watch Dogs
Fuck is
concept
this music?
and make it.
Like you already tell, like all these people are gonna be a different class.
Oh my
Is that
god.
a speaker bomb? Is that
It's like a
speaker bomb?
battle royale for bank heisting.
Oh my god, it's Smoking Aces, the video
It's
game.
Payday for hipsters.
Yeah.
Or is it like that Thing Out of Free guy where they
Am I at the same time you guys are?
Don't worry, Pixie. Pretty much all of us are out of
Monkey.
speak with each other because of different time zones.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair games.
It is a battle royale for
Jesus.
heisters.
Take it till you make it.
Fair games.
Oh,
There's
amazing.
a
Fair
QR.
game $sign.
Yeah, see that was a first party game, but they announced PS5 and PC at the same time.
Again, probably because they want to emphasize on the multiplayer bit.
You know,
Yeah.
it was, Microsoft I could get doing it, but it's interesting that Sony seemed to be a lot more lenient with
It's
bringing
almost
some
like
of their
console
stuff to
exclusivity
PC.
doesn't matter.
I'm watching this on YouTube. Maybe I should watch it on Twitch. Does anyone have the Twitch link?
I'm
Yeah,
on.
yeah, hang on,
Check the channel.
Yeah, check
Hi,
the recording
Chico.
station.
Delighted to be here today to introduce what's next for PlayStation 5. We're now into the third year of the life cycle of PS5.
Doesn't get seen it again.
Wait, okay, this is the first time I've heard Jim Ryan's voice in a while. I forgot he's British.
Yep, he's a Brit.
You didn't you?
Gaming experiences
No, I
that they create.
didn't.
Today,
Oh, so
we're
that's
gonna
why
give
we
us
got the
some
medieval
breathtaking
remake.
and imaginative-
No, that was apparently a personal
Oh,
project
PSVR
that,
2. He said
another
something
guy
about that.
actually requested.
What you've all been waiting for.
Alright, Jim, let's see what you got for us today.
PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale 5.
I wish.
I would
Cybertron.
that
Wow.
game holds so much
For generations as long.
Fortitude.
Super.
This looks like a
Ministry
Star Wars
of
hotel.
Truth.
Hey, look, it's the
Wow.
Elon Musk simulator.
That went from
Damn!
Oh my god! Sorry, I was laughing at the Elon Musk thing, and then I saw his wife and children get murdered instantly.
Mate.
I'm sorry, isn't this just like Rick's backstory?
I was thinking so, too.
What is
Okay, this
Hanson Jack
propaganda in
alike?
parts remind me of Starship Troopers.
Oh my god!
doing my
Imagine if this is a Starship
Are you sure
Troopers.
it's not Starship Troopers?
Starship Troopers for PlayStation. Okay.
Ah, Helldivers.
Destiny, but cheesy.
Oh, Helldivers. Okay, this is a game that they think they had beforehand anyway.
So is Helldivers like essentially we have Starship
Another
Troopers at
multiplayer
home?
shooter. That's 2 in a row.
Experience true freedom.
Oh my god!
Man, Journey
By
2
2
looks
freedom,
very
maybe
different.
Shooting bugs on Mars.
Resources we need.
Yeah, no,
No
this
Man's Raid.
Better to
yeah, no, seriously, this looks like we have Starship Troopers at home.
fascinating life form.
It looks
that
like
Roger
Starship
Craig Smith
Troopers,
doing
but
the
it's set in
announcing?
No Man's Sky.
That could be. Roger Craig Smith's in a lot of stuff, Bix.
It sounds like
You
his
can hug your
voice.
friend.
Kind of sounds like Handsome Jack.
Oh,
Represent the best.
Okay. I'll
Is
give
Handsome
him.
Jack a Borderlands guy?
Okay.
Become part
No, that's absolutely Roger Craig Smith. I can hear it.
Yeah, that is Roger. That is the pizza man himself.
Those pizza days. Okay, I'll give him
The
credit.
console man.
I'll give him credit. It's another shooter, but I do like the presentation of this trailer.
Oh, this
I
feels
like how
like dirty, dirty propaganda.
again,
I like
Starship Troopers is basically like this. So. Yeah,
Like, I like-
I don't like how this feels like dirty, dirty propaganda.
Oh, trust me,
Yep,
Pix.
that's
This-
some
Wait.
that's some US military invitation right there.
There was a,
You're just like lighting
That
up
was
the
a
world's most
Next.
like
Helldivers.
prestige game of procrastination.
Yes, just
America
what the symbols
Games.
look like.
Yep, the chat's got it
Sorry?
right so far.
Game America.
Ascendant Studios.
I like that person's mask. EA. Okay, I'm out.
EA.
Yeah, I'm out of here. Bye.
All right,
I
let's
thought
get
EA was
7
dead.
minutes.
Original.
Well,
this, is
EA
actually, this is actually their indie division, so it's not Anthem 2, in case you're wondering.
Right, yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're
it
indie
takes
divi-
2. What was the other things they did?
we had Unraveled, I
They
believe.
did Unravel. There was
Knockout
the,
City.
Yeah, there was that city that was flooded with the Black Creature. There were the games that Joseph Ferris did. A Way Out and.
Hello,
Take Two.
strong woman.
This
Basically,
looks like Dishonored.
huh?
She kind of looks like a human. She kind of looks like a human Gajinka of like a goblin woman or an orc woman.
I was about to say, goblin and orc, two different.
I'm an orc.
I know.
As a bit more stylized character design than this.
Like this looks like Dishonored and Warframe had a baby.
Yeah,
With a little bit
I
of
can see
Skyrim
it.
cheating in it.
Those are
Honor
maybe
frame.
more- I think we did saw a trailer for this, a small teaser at least for this in the past.
I'm definitely
I'm calling
getting
it honor frame.
I'm definitely getting some heavy Bioshock vibes from this.
Bioshock.
Wait a minute.
You love
I just noticed on his right cheek, he's got triangle and square. I wonder if he has circle and X on the other side.
Oh,
like
that
God,
would be
that
awesome.
would be cheeky.
I mean, if it's EA, it's a multi-plat
Nope,
title.
it's just
so
triangle
the
and square.
The symbols depends on the console, the place where they are.
I don't want to be the helmetless man. Look at all the cool little helmets I should have.
But
I want to be the bad
That
guy.
helmet's overrated.
Bailey, don't you know, these days we need to show the characters' faces at all costs.
But it's an FPS.
Mouths are overrated.
Game.
That is a good point, honestly.
Like the reason people
Immortals-
like
Immortals of
Resident Evil is
Avium.
because we cannot see what it looks like. The reason people like Master
Mortals
Chief.
out.
Up in your mouth there,
Avium.
Dragon.
Whoa, T, what are you talking about? We totally see Master Chief's face all
Stop
the
talking.
time.
505, okay.
Oh,
Someone's calling for an SOS. And the trailer's barely started.
505 is mostly a publisher in order to boost up games that require a publisher but don't want to attach to a big
Tron?
one.
He's Tron. give me my Tron. It's not Tron.
well, he's driving.
But then he just falls straight down like Wile E. Coyote.
Cool,
Oh,
motorcycle parkour. That's cool.
okay. That's
Okay,
actually
this is
pretty
speaking
awesome.
more my language.
That would have been really
alright.
funny if like he just fell straight down like Wile E. Coyote after hanging in the air for a few seconds.
Is this?
And I just died.
What's this game's
I'm
name?
gonna guess this is VR compatible.
Interesting.
This looks like a certain game that like it's always on my PS1. Yeah, it's Ghost Runner 2. That's why it's a sequel to Ghost Runner.
Oh, it looks like motorcycle
Don't you
gameplay
mean
is
it looks?
implemented.
It
Blood will run
looks
it.
I
like
like right now.
it looks like
we're
it's
going
the
back to back.
title.
Blood will run.
The title looks like it says Ghost Runner 2.
I was thinking Ghost Runner. I was thinking Ghost Runner.
Ghost Runner.
You know, I like the pacing of this. You know, there's no stopping. Not even a segue. It's just straight.
Wow, it's so gray. It's so gray.
But I'm gonna guess.
Oh, it's an MCU movie then. It's gray.
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess, Failing, that they're gonna dedicate their 20 minutes to showcase the gameplay.
Is this Sekiro?
No,
Sekiro's Shadows Die Thrice?
No, again,
Isn't Sekiro Activision
it's
though?
probably an indie game that was inspired by those, well, similar to Trek to Yami.
Because I got some massive
It kind of looks like The Witcher and Sekiro had a baby.
Ow, Dante just then, Dante is really full
If
on
anything,
hard times.
I don't know, Dweebs. In terms of design, the protagonist there reminded me more instead of Get Out of Libya.
Hang on, I'm a little more interested.
Oh yeah,
man, I don't remember the opening of the channel looking like this.
I think this is done by the Chinese divisions that do a couple of games specifically for the Chinese audience for PlayStation.
So I'm guessing the grayscale is to shoot it like one of those old Japanese films.
Oh my god, it's the quintessence.
What? We went from everyone wears a helmet to everyone wears a mask.
Innocent. Innocent.
I honestly thought one of you had said that in chat.
Nope.
Oh, that's.
I like the swordplay though. Look at that.
Yeah.
Very slick.
I feel
it's less like spamming, but like there's actual like deflecting it.
It's Conehead, man.
Shut up.
I feel like Ghost of
Welcome to the console.
I feel like Ghost of Tsushima definitely raised the standard for sword-playing games, and I definitely appreciate that because yeah, this
check it out, man. I'm Spider-Man.
This looks absolutely slick. I love it. Oh, parkour!
Jedi Fallen Order.
Well, I'm guessing it's multi-platform.
He looks.
They did not get the PlayStation Studio logo at the beginning.
I'm sorry, but he looks very floaty.
Yeah,
give me a drink, bartender.
That's a hand cannon.
Okay, I like that cannon arm.
He's got the Sans cannon!
I just love this swordplay. I love that, like, you know, we're actually deflecting against different kinds of swords, parrying. It's less spam button.
Like, this looks like the game probably that Gilson B. Pontes thinks he's doing.
Wow.
That's so cool, man. How does that play though? Like, of course, it's one thing seeing it cinematically, but like, how does that play out when you're pressing?
This doesn't look too cinematic, but you still we need to see what the bottom prompt actually means and how much scripted it actually is.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember how I was complaining that it looks really like, how it looks really monotone, like really monochrome. I think maybe it might be a stylistic choice because I'm noticing that the only color they're really showing is red. The blades are red, the candles are red, the lights are red.
It's like I said, I think it's being shot like one of those old Japanese films.
There's also gold, so...
Well, the Akira Kurosawa one was
but the gold is faded.
Black and white. Usually,
Phantom Blade
Zack Snyder
Phantom
style,
Blade Zero.
You know, desaturation.
This implies a prequel to something.
Phantom Blade?
No. Don't you see, guys? We're going. No. You see, guys, we're going a step beyond starting at 1. We're starting at 0.
It's
the Dark Universe, Phantom Blade.
No, I respect that actually. We're starting with the actual prequel instead of like going back to the prequel later. I respect that.
PS5.
Coming to PS5.
But yeah, no. So far, good show. Also, hey, Journey. Or a throwback.
This looks like a PS4,
Is this Journey? I mean, this could be.
I was gonna say, it looks like a PS4, like menu screen.
Wait, oh my god, it's the same art style.
It might actually be Journey.
It might be Journey.
From the visionary
Journey too.
The visionary artist behind Journey.
Oh snap. Come on, show us that. Oh my god, you can even do the surfing on
sand. You can ride your sword like a surf blade.
The fastest on ground, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh my god.
It's a surf blade.
Okay, let's see what you got. Giant Squid presents.
Oh, it is Journey.
Well, no. The style of Journey. There's many games with the style of Journey. It could be Journey. Maybe it's
that's
not.
okay.
That's gorgeous.
I saw the HUD on him is why.
The emphasis of desert and hooded figures.
Tony Hawk's.
Also, I really appreciate the stylization and
Tony Hawk's Journey.
Yes, you can pause.
I really appreciate the stylization in the industry where like everybody felt.
Oh my god.
Hey.
You can change the sand into the ocean? Okay.
You can play as Ghost Rider.
I was gonna say, I really appreciate the stylization in an industry where everything feels the need to be like hyper realistic.
I know, right? Sword of the Sea.
So I'll just
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Pixy, don't we?
I agree with what you said. Don't worry.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what looks like a clear sequel to Journey.
More
That is awesome.
It's not a sequel to Journey. It just looks like Journey by the same people who made Journey.
I love, but you gotta admit, they literally did shots that are like Journey, complete with the sunsets of
A new world awaits you. Full of
I'm glad Isaac Asimov finally started to make a game.
Is this iRobot the movie?
No.
Sorry.
Having a robot and using puzzles, that was the Talos principle. Is this a sequel to that?
It's the video game of iRobot.
That's technically Detroit Become Human.
Is that an arc reactor? Is that an arc reactor on Arsenal Pyramid?
Again, you have to understand that Detroit Become Human actually has more in common with the
Is that Lightyear? Is that
iRobot.
Star Command in the hit film Lightyear?
Without fear or delusion.
Oh, hey, Kitty Cat.
Again, everything's so monochrome.
It's a stylistic choice, I'm guessing.
This is
But
less monochrome. This is more muted
There's
color.
so much of it, though.
Asgard. Oh my gosh, it's Asgard.
Alright, no, hang on. I'm going to defend this one because this isn't monochrome. It's just muted coloring.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I see other colors now.
Right.
You know, I wonder if on the thumbnail of the
Talos principle too.
color Pixies.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is the Talos principle.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
The
What were you
Talos
saying?
principle too. But
Oh, bird.
Bird up.
Welcome to Bird Up, the worst show on television.
The creators of Grease.
Also, I gotta say, from that last game we saw, I love the architecture.
I don't feel so good.
Talos too, yeah.
And the bird's
Oh,
been
got that
shot.
sacred, like the Hanihaki disease.
Oh, I
whatever
see.
the fantasy trope is.
I see. When we die, when people die, they become
That is
rats.
Twig from Hilda grown up.
That's a little too many birds.
That's Twig from Hilda grown up.
Damn.
Epic Mickey.
It's the circle of life.
Oh no, not the doggo.
It's Epic Mickey meets
Is it gonna be like those
Amaratu.
flashy
It's Epic Mickey meets Okami.
Yes.
Oh, I see. So it's like those flashy adverts that have nothing to do with anything.
The ad has nothing to do with anything. In the end, this is actually just an ad for mountain water.
You are not okay. Oh no.
You cannot pet the dog.
Not the tree forest dog.
You can pet the dog, he just won't react to you.
The dog. No, you can.
They already spoiled the dog dies in the trailer for the game.
God damn.
Well, now you know if you want to buy it or not.
I don't want to buy it.
It's death. It's gonna.
It comes back to life.
There's a baby.
Thank you for the cinematic movie, but what's the game?
A dialogue tree shows up.
Okay, see, I would accept that because then you know it's a game.
Aww.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah, then either mourn silent, press X to mourn silently, or press circle for no!
Aww.
Never.
Nice to meet you.
Devolver
Please show. Oh,
Digital.
it's Devolver. Okay, we're all good.
I can already see the jokes being like, I will never buy this game. Yeah, there it is. I literally just called it in real time.
2D animated games. Now this is the stuff I'm living for.
It's a Shiroi game.
Yeah, Shiroi actually like these. If it's
Quest.
Pirates
of the Caribbean. I was not expecting
This
this
is
to be
really
the game.
cute.
Yeah, no, this looks adorable.
This looks cool.
Pirates mixed with cats. Yeah, that seems like that would make money.
The perfect game
Like,
for
I don't know if I
Shiroi
should
and
find that
Yeah,
name
yeah,
endearing.
no,
or
they
I
just
should
showed
know
us
that's the guy
gameplay
without
and
the name.
boom.
And it's perfect for Pixie.
Yes. Oh,
Love it,
cool.
it's
You
adorable.
got. Oh, hey, look, guys, a game that
Pirates,
actually.
cats. What more could you want?
Hey, look, guys, a game that's doing what Skull and Bones said it would be out to do.
Well, not really.
No, Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is
Batman?
essentially
Is it
doing
Batman?
the
Square
same
Enix.
game. Oh wait, no.
Is it Batman? Is it Batman Square Enix?
What is this?
The Quiet
A
Man
gun named
2.
Pablo.
It's Batman!
I want to name all my
Shows a
guns
gun.
Pablo now.
All right.
Batman Square Enix.
No.
Overwatch Square Enix?
If it's not a new
Outriders,
IP, I don't
but
really
for
recognize
What
it.
the heck?
Wait,
Why do you look like Sarah?
Is she dressed as a chocobo? She's literally wearing a chocobo armor.
Okay.
Oh my god!
My
that
weakness,
color!
neon.
Like, this art style of these characters in this background looks like so jarring.
Is this...
Alright, Square.
The
I'm
art
listening.
style, the art style feels like a mobile game.
Oh my gosh, is he shooting bottles?
Is this Splatoon for adults?
I love these, like, unique kinds of weapons, though. These are really cool weapons.
What is this?
It looks like they're shooting
Why
each
does it
other
look
with...
stupid charming?
It looks like they're
This
shooting each
is
other...
what little kids feel like playing in the bathtub is like.
Yeah, it looks like they're shooting each
Oh,
other
gameplay!
with...
Oh,
wait,
look at
I'm
that!
not gonna lie, this looks far more charming than...
Oh my god.
This looks far more charming than Kingdom Hearts 4.
This has the
It really is Splatoon, though.
Yeah, it really functioning like.
This is really cool though. Bathtub war.
I said that earlier. It's Splatoon for adults.
With champagne, I guess.
No. Don't you see, guys? Instead of paint,
Like one thing's been
using...
Splatoon, but like these are like very different kinds of weapons, even beyond just the idea of a shooter.
Foam.
You see, instead
People
of...
gotta let each other finish their sentences.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Instead of paint, we use foam and bathtub supplies, it looks like.
Alright, yeah, it's like human Splatoon. But I love this type of cityscape style, so it's all good for me.
What Shiri thinks of this.
Foam Star.
Don't like that name.
Boy, I gotta
Foam Star Runner.
I gotta say,
Foam Star Runner. It's strong bad. What are you doing in the bath?
I gotta say,
Who's actually developing how?
Nintendo cease and desist.
That is a
Oh,
good
I know this
question.
one. We saw this in a
Lucky
direct.
Squire.
Oh, I
We saw this in
remember
a
hearing
direct
about this
before.
game.
Yeah, this is the game that James Turner is working on. He was the art director of Pokemon Sword and Shield and created a bunch of Pokemon.
You're the game that James Turner was working on.
I wish I was.
This
I
game
love
is
these
a
little guys.
story
They look
book.
like
I love
Bomberman
it.
characters.
The other side of reminds me a bit of Hilda.
Link.
I brought up Hilda in the 2 games ago, and no one commented on that.
Wasn't well,
And it's a link between worlds.
Isn't
Yeah,
Hilda a British series?
It's a link
This is
between
one of
worlds
my most
mixed with Pikmin.
this is one of my most anticipated games this year.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm with you for that.
It kind of looks like 3D Scribblenauts a little.
A bit, yeah.
Please
From
bring
the-
back
from the-
Scribblenauts,
From the
please.
from the creator of Pokemon. This art
Anything that
design
ever
was
reminds me
No,
of Little
from-
Big Planet, I'm always down for.
From the creator of Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all digital.
Yes, Sony, we get it. Your buttons look awesome.
You really like those transitions.
Feel them under your.
Minecraft.
Oh shit, tear
I
down.
play Minecraft. Smash Brother.
Wait, hold on.
This is quite literally tear down.
Is this Minecraft Go?
Minecraft?
No, okay, so the
Brown
purpose of
bricks?
tear down is to destroy a building as fast as you can. Not
Burn
a,
out
but like multiple
Minecraft.
buildings.
What
It's
the
a turn
heck?
out Minecraft.
Wait, is this
So they're moving
GTA
tear down onto the
Minecraft?
PlayStation stuff. Okay.
No, it's pretty much.
Ah,
pretty much
GTA
here,
6
but
is a lot
it's just
different.
done
Commit
long
domestic
with
terrorism,
Greek,
but with
art
blocks.
style.
In Minecraft.
It is indeed domestic terrorism, but with blocks.
Boom.
It's Minecraft terrorism.
Let's see what's next.
It's how
Terrorcraft.
This is those jokes of terrorist actions, but in Minecraft.
This
Terrorcraft.
Arthur.
And I hate that.
It looks like you can pretty much cause all manner of havoc.
Terrorism, maybe?
Minecraft absolute
No, wait,
destruction.
getting to destroy
You can
everything
even
with no
use
consequences.
graffiti?
Sounds like my kind of game.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is like
right,
game
man.
would be.
This is Minecraft mixed with GTA.
Lego City Undercover then.
The MTA.
I don't see enough simping.
I love that I know this
Well,
game because my little
tear
brother
down.
got me into it. That's what I've been calling it.
It's literally a
It
game
is,
made for destruction. Beautiful. Oh, hey, a PS5!
That's cute. That's cute.
This year.
Okay, I'll give Sony credit.
Yeah,
they
this
have
year,
a good
PS5 will fall through your roof.
So far, Sony are showing a good amount of variety for the showcase, which is important to have.
Not
The first couple games are a little
Not
samey,
already,
in my
I
opinion.
guess.
Huh?
Bug.
Book.
Bug.
And?
What do you like?
The epic reboot we've all wanted of Sim Ants.
The Ant-Man game.
Oh my god, it's a dark, gritty reboot of Ants with a Z from DreamWorks.
It's already
It's already pretty dark and gritty.
No, even darker and grittier.
For the kids.
Oh man, Sony stole Pikmin 4.
Oh,
I was gonna say it's Pikmin 5. Dang it! You beat me to it.
Pikmin.
You beat me to it.
Bird up. Oh no, I think it's the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake.
No way!
The parrot is
What?
one of the end. Yeah,
No.
The frog is the one that.
Oh snap! It's
just hands
that
out the
area.
table.
Oh my god, have we done it again to you? Have we once again managed to time a recording
Nate.
so well?
Whoa.
No! Really? Okay, no!
Oh! See? See
John
you?
Favreau
What is going on? There's
very weird.
Alright, Snake, I take offense to that.
Are we in Australia?
No, if it's the Metal Gear Solid
No, we're in a
remake,
swamp. I
it's
think
in
it's-
some unspecified parts of the Middle East.
Supposedly Tajikistan.
Oh, you're
Oh
right.
god!
There he is.
There he is!
I
It's
know,
Snake,
boss.
it's Snake!
It's Metal Gear 3.
Hey, boss.
It's Solid Snake! Noodle Man extraordinaire.
Oh!
Give me it.
Yeah,
There's the
There it
fiend
is.
Snake
Alright.
Eater!
You guys called it.
Okay, that made me uncomfortable because I looked like a keyhole for a second.
It just pans out and it says Death Stranding.
No, they're saying that Metal Gear Solid
Metal
is
Gear
now an
Solid,
addition into the next Kingdom Hearts game.
Triangle?
That's why, yeah, there's the joke.
Wait. Metal Gear Solid Delta? What? No, that's Metal Gear Solid
Metal Gear
3.
Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Wait, so we're remaking
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3. We haven't. Was there a remake of 1 and 2?
No.
There was a remake
Well,
of 3
well-
on the 3DS.
Oh,
Snake.
Oh, now it's
Hold
Cody.
We got a collection. We got a collection. Okay.
And
Massive
also
collection.
this was actually leaked. The classic games
The
collection are getting
collection.
onto the PS5.
This
Oh,
autumn.
gameplay. Wait, not of Metal Gear
Oh,
Solid.
yep, there's the big crowd pleaser. The Metal Gear Solid 3 remake
Because the
is
audience
alive.
doesn't know yet, we are recording MGS3 during these days.
I swear, okay, a bit of
Wow.
a secret for our channel. Somehow our playthroughs tend to be so well timed that a big event usually announces something tied to it. Like back when we did a run of the original Final Fantasy VII, we got the announcement of the 7 remake and Cloud getting into Smash that same year.
Okay, so we just rig
hey,
you guys playing games, and we'll finally get the sequels we want.
Yeah, hopefully.
Me personally, I'm not sure how many of Konami's bosses from 2015 are still around now, but I wonder if they'll be using Kojima's script as is, or if they'll just adapt it.
I don't know.
I don't really see why they really should alter it with.
I mean, maybe update bits and pieces of it here and there to reflect, Team Ping
Oh!
as being maybe
Hey!
a bit
Get on
inaccurate.
its back.
It-
Get
oh,
on
hey.
its back. Thank you.
Oh hey, it's Tears of the
Look at the
Kingdom.
little man. Look at the man on his back.
The
Little
shelter.
shelter on his back.
Yeah.
Towers.
Oh
my.
I feel like I'd be offending someone if I try to pronounce that, and I pronounce it very badly.
Agashpa?
Coming 2024.
I'll say that. Sure.
Wait,
Sure.
what the
This is
heck?
Final Fantasy 16.
I was
recognize
about
the
to say
crystal.
that giant crystal.
You don't even need to recognize the crystal. I wasn't paying attention and I heard the music.
That too, yeah. What are we
Someone
doing
called it
now?
a Tears of the Kingdom
It's actually
ripoff.
Final
Go to bed.
Phoenix.
It's actually Final Fantasy 17.
Eh. You know, plot twist.
Kiddo.
Final Fantasy
What is up with
17.
that girl's face?
Plot twist. Final Fantasy 17, when it finally comes out, that's just gonna be Final Fantasy
At
7,
TV
but
unit.
10 years later.
Ow.
They're gonna compensate for how dark this is getting. With the next Final Fantasy game, just gonna be nothing but like chocobos hugging it out.
Aww.
Yeah,
I'd play
I got
that.
it. Make it like it has the tone of 10-2 or something.
10
I'd play a game where
I reckon-
chocobos are just hugging it out the whole time.
I recognise that. Yeah, I recognise that voice just then. You know, he's usually the guy who does the narration for TalkSport radio promos.
Again,
UK radio station.
For the localization of these kind of games, Square prefer to use a prevalently British cast at this point.
I think this game looks fine. I'll admit, it hasn't necessarily gripped my interest absolutely yet. But for those excited for it, I'm happy for them. Like again,
I haven't played a single Final Fantasy game, and this game isn't changing my mind.
This gameplay fits more of a spin-off than a mainline title, but at the very least, the story seems to be compensating.
Right, yeah. Again, for Final Fantasy fans, at the very least, it seems like the series is finally, you know, truly rehabilitated itself after a very, very messy campaign through the 7th generation of gaming.
Although this game certainly does want to take advantage of next gen. Look at all these particle effects.
Yeah, well, it's... I swear, Square Enix are probably some of the biggest graphic lovers in the industry.
Yeah, you can never stop Square Enix from playing around with stuff like this.
I'm sure on
and
PS5
my God,
it's
why
gonna
not
perform
want you?
like
This is
ass.
good looking.
Yes, it is.
I'm so in for this.
And hey, for those of you who like a medieval setting, congrats! It seems like the medieval looks have got it this turn for Final Fantasy.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure the story will deliver.
Yeah,
Every time, 17 plus games, and every time I hear this song,
fate will.
We've got the 7. We've got the 7 remake for more sci-fi stuff.
Well, assuming that doesn't get delayed.
Aside from Sony, again, masturbating to the
on the other point, and we do know Spider-Man 2 is gonna be present in some capacity.
Oh?
You know,
is this Outlast?
Capcom?
Is a step forward.
Is this Resident Evil?
No.
Wait, John Wick?
Oh,
Epic
Alan
Games.
Wake 2. This is Alan Wake 2, probably.
I'm glad you're on this case with me.
Yeah, it
Epic
is.
Games Publishing presents.
The victim.
Fortnite.
FBI Special Agent
Robert Knight.
Remedy.
Entertainment.
Yeah, this is most likely
Alan
Alan
Wake.
Wake 2.
How ironic that
Wait,
Alan Wake
it is
way
Alan
more
Wake.
famous for being on Xbox.
I'm more like Alan
Is-
Wick.
as
Am
a
I right?
sequel,
That happens all the time.
As its big
Dave,
sequel review end up on PlayStation.
It
Yep, it's Alan Wake 2.
Did you say my name?
We were all
Also, again, the biggest question is, considering it's a bit of a spoiler, but the game control reveals that that one is also set in the same universe as Alan Wake.
Yeah, there's like
so
Alan
I
Wake
do wonder
DLC
how
control.
they want to keep the connection on, or
Yep,
not.
they're making the jokes too. Alan Wick.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's like control references, because control is like very successful.
There's something.
For those who don't know, the thing that Alan Wake does in order to stay a bit different from other shooters is that there are
Alan,
these
where's your
shadows,
wife?
and you need to actually point the flashlight to them in order to make them disappear.
Luigi.
I also know that they're making
Or
a sequel
Torch
to
if you're
Control
British.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course it's Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2.
Alan, where is your wife?
Of course, coming
What's
out
her
in time
name?
for
Alan Wake 2.
Halloween.
Might as well.
Alan
hope-
Wake the Second.
Now let's hope this one doesn't get delayed like the Silent Hills remake did
Ass
from their
Creed.
Halloween release. Oh, hey!
Alright,
This is the
Assassin's Creed.
This is Assassin's Creed that's set in the Middle East. Ubisoft did say that they were gonna release it this year.
So Ubisoft, are you gonna actually give us a game that plays like Assassin's Creed these days? Please?
Hey, that was a gamble.
I
Alright.
just okay.
Step
I
in
know.
the right
Give me the
direction.
Assassin's
I
Creed
know
and
this is
this time they send
comparing.
it in space. How about that, guys?
Mate, it is too warm in this area for you to be
Yes,
doing
that's
shit like
true.
this.
Anyway,
I
yes,
know it's
Dutch.
comparing apples and oranges, but it's amazing how Ubisoft can make plenty of open world games, but are struggling to make a PS2 game.
Okay. The story with Assassin's Creed is pretty much a well-known one at this point. A very remarkable series. The issue is that, starting with the 4th game, it was clear that they were more interested with experimenting instead of actually making it play like Assassin's Creed. And ever since, the series has kind of struggled gameplay-wise with its
Yeah,
identity.
this actually seems to be a return to origin.
Good, yeah. And as
Even though we already had a game called Assassin's Creed Origins.
Well, that one, if I recall correctly, played out more like a side scroller.
No. I think he's talking about the one that takes place in Egypt.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, Origins. I thought.
Yeah.
No, I got mistaken with Chronicles, the one that was divided in 3 parts.
It's funny that the sword play looks so shallow after that one with all the cool sword choreography.
So, Ubisoft, it's nice that you can show off this, but where the hell is Skull and Bones Beyond Good and Evil 2?
The stage is yours, Basim. We will be watching.
Assassin's Creed Mirage.
October 12th.
I'm guessing this was a game we saw.
Oh right,
revealed
these
one
games
time
have
ago.
release dates.
Yes, they do.
The Glory Society.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in the Ratatouille end credits.
Oh,
okay.
Glow Cloud.
Oh,
it's
Night in the Woods too.
It's Night in the Woods.
Aww.
Yeah,
that certainly
those
is
eyes
just
are
May.
unmistakable.
Okay.
Prequel? Is this a different universe?
Man, that cat
Those
seems like
same art style, yeah,
weird.
definitely.
Well, okay, the art style is definitely that one, but still.
And that's very clearly May, but like.
That it's designed like May.
Also, there's this kind of elephant in the room of the fact that the lead developers, died.
Revenant
Hill. Got it.
Alright.
Oh, so it's a Mortal Kombat
wait,
prequel. I get it.
wait. Revenant Hill, so that means it's about the dead rising?
It kind of reminds me of the second episode of Over the Garden Wall, so yeah.
Triangle, circle, X, square.
Circle, dot.
Where have I seen these shapes before? Anyway, let's see what side
Geometry.
games have.
Side games, this is Grand Blue Fantasy.
Versus? Oh, no, wait.
No, this is the
Xenoblade.
open world RPG that they've been making for like years.
Wasn't this?
Oh, look at him
I
go.
hope it's good.
Like, Grand Blue Fantasy is one of those franchises that I keep hearing of, and he has a shit ton of fan base, but I never had the time to get into it.
I've
This is Grand Blue?
I've seen
Yeah.
a couple of I've seen a couple of cutscenes from the fighting game. All I know about it is that it has a interesting interpretation of Cagliostro.
The
And
most.
I'm in the same boat. Like I've heard of
think
Grand
you
Blue
actually
Fantasy,
saw
but like I don't know
Fate
jack
Grand
about
Blue
it.
Are you talking about
Yeah.
Lupin the Third, Castle Cagliostro?
No. There's a character in the Grand Blue Fantasy series called Cagliostro, but the canon in that one is that the OG
Oh, it
body
is
was
Grand
dying,
Blue.
so he decided to fashion himself as a new body. But
It's a little hard to
a,
recognize.
but it's got those stereotypically cute girls.
Dweebs, I still think you saw instead
Yeah.
Fate.
Remember.
You know, it's funny.
I mean, it applies to both,
the
honestly.
fighting game, like right before it officially came out.
Capcom,
Like,
Street Fighter 6.
Capcom.
I
Fighter.
never had the chance to play it because
The next
Lockdown
version of the
happened.
fighting game.
Alright.
Harry.
Hey everybody, this is Ryu. From
I do
Street.
want to play this game.
Oh yeah,
Fighting
Street
Just for the
Fighter.
character creation alone.
Street Fighter 6 looks like it's gonna be amazing.
just so you can make your
Like this
own
art style goes absolutely hard every
Who
time I
wouldn't
see
want
it.
to?
Are they not going for like the stylized look anymore though? They're trying to go for like realism.
No.
Oh no, dude.
It
Style.
seems in between, Pixie. Like,
Okay.
the body proportion seems to be more point on that, but it still has that Jet Set Radio graffiti style.
Look at that. That is.
Ish.
This is the only reason I want to play this game, just to fucking immerse myself.
Hey Ken.
She took the fucking kids.
Poor Ken. But yeah, no, okay, Pixie, if you're thinking realistic art style, that's more what Street Fighter V went for. What Street
Not
Fighter 6
really.
seems to be doing
Oh, you're right.
is-
This is kind of like in between.
Hey, Guile! But yeah, what Street Fighter 6
I
seems
can
to be
mute.
doing is essentially putting more of an animated
Ken.
spin on things, while, you know, having more of a stylized look, having something that can be considered relatively grounded, which in a way is also paying mind to the series' roots in that regard,
So
too.
this is a trailer for the story mode, I guess.
Meet
where
the
your-
Yeah,
legends.
it's gonna be
where
a
your,
story
where
mode.
your
always
custom
been
character
trailer.
has to go through, each of your character. I wonder if because of this we're gonna have, like a different ending where your character chooses to sign with the new character. I forgot his name. The one that inherited the psycho power or not.
JC.
With the pre-order bonus and everything.
Where's the inevitable Capcom pre-order that involves another Capcom franchise?
I don't recognize this. So.
And I think the LSD's kicking in.
It looks like something from a Metroidvania.
It's Guacamelee
It definitely does seem to be more inspired by Hindu mythology.
Yeah, it seems like it's Hindu Metroid.
It's a Metroidvania.
Or Hollow Knight.
2011
Can do Hollow Knight.
It even has...
Hollow Knight is a bit more fluid than this.
Seems one of those intentionally...
I can't get into Metroidvanias at all. One of my biggest pet peeves of games is getting lost and backtracking.
Yeah, no, this definitely feels like a version of Metroid. Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
wow.
Snap,
I think X9 looks really trippy.
Ultras.
Alright.
Age of Ultras.
That certainly looks like Metroidvania. 2024.
See ya then.
Not bad.
Forgive me, but it looks like there's an infection fungus spreading throughout the land, sort of like in Hollow Knight.
This one's very Joker. It's doing the shape thing from earlier, but backwards.
I'm at pre-show level Sony presentation.
Perfect.
Wow, James.
Oh.
I heard that.
This looks like a
I like cool robot things. I like cool robots. I like big giant robots.
I like giant robots. You like giant robots.
Okay, look, Jay.
What?
That's not how the theme song.
I don't care.
And you call yourself
the world must
Can you imagine that?
SLR fan.
That sounds like a rejected Evangelion theme.
The character art style, hang on, I gotta look at their eyes.
This looks like it's done by
Ruby, the video game.
The eyes look very like Genshin, Honkai.
I want to enjoy this.
Looking.
All right, one at a time, guys.
This looks
No, I was
more like
specifically
it's
talking
done
to
by
Jeji.
the team who did Genshin Impact.
Yeah, their eyes look very Genshin.
This is weird because they just released Honkai Star Rail.
It didn't say how you're
they're working on yet another thing.
Well, that's more of a mobile title.
I mean, it didn't say Helioverse earlier, so... Am I the only one that prefers this original name better, MiHoYo?
Yes.
No, I prefer MiHoYo. But even then.
So they changed their name from MiHoYo?
Oh my god, the underwater scene.
Yeah, now they're Helioverse.
Tower of Fantasy.
You're
That's
on.
the jellyfish. Tower of Fantasy. That's such a generic.
Definitely doesn't look. It definitely doesn't have any of the like copyright of a HoYoverse title.
La Connection.
The underwater
The
underwater scenes look absolutely gorgeous.
Capcom.
I couldn't read
Is this
that.
Monster Hunter?
Dragon's
Monster
Dogma
Hunter?
2, let's go!
Wait, no way.
It is Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, it is. There we go.
Two.
It's Dragon's Dogma 2.
We had announced
Damn.
it already, so
Okay.
it's time we actually
I wasn't
saw
expecting
something.
that.
Did you not remember? Then have you forgotten that you protected me from the dragon's flames?
You need only believe in your own.
Basically, Dragon's Dogma is essentially Capcom's go-to medieval franchise of the bunch.
Well, it was actually part of the new series of IPs they did in the early 2010s.
It has been a while, but people have wanted a sequel, and now it looks like over 11 years later, we're finally getting one.
That you have your personalized party that you can create, you easily create a character option, and each of them even has a set of voices that you can give to them, and they never shut up. Yes, I know that
But where's my devil guy?
Also, if you know the story about the first game, you will know that it feels a bit odd that there's another dragon. But I guess that's what
Maybe it's the Final Fantasy logic, different universe.
Or maybe it's a case where the cycle still continues despite everything.
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Dragon's Dogma the second.
Dragon's Dogma, Peaks.
It's FNAF. Okay, I need to step out. I need to step out, guys.
Wait.
I don't do well with
it's VR.
Why are there so many FNAF games?
Alright, I got a message.
I want my exotic brothers.
Because they print money pics.
I know. It was a rhetorical question.
Oh?
Ah, shit, the lift's broken.
Yes.
Oh, maybe it's a DLC for security breach. They did
That
mention
might be
about
something.
going back.
So strap yourself in and get motivated to an appropriate
Strap yourself in. Thank you very much for telling me that.
There were no other applicants.
Five Nights at Freddy's. Help wanted.
Wait, that's the VR game, isn't it?
2.
Yes.
Ah, there we go. Sequel.
There we go. Thanks,
Well,
I needed
Am I
that.
free now? Am I free?
You're
Yes.
free.
I'm free.
Are you
Alright.
afraid?
You are free to see yet another version of the PlayStation buttons.
We're 15 minutes away, well, so I wonder... I'm guessing they are really, reserving Spider-Man 2 for the final.
Wait.
The next time I save $1,000, I'm picking up this, the PS5, and the VR headset too.
VR2.
Alright, now we got
Okay.
Resident Evil Village VR.
I'm glad E3's dead.
I'm gonna get the pillow out.
I'm gonna
Really, that's a shame because E3 also had locations that you could showcase this stuff, so you can actually come up to play a bit of it.
like okay.
That's true, but they could make it not have the same practices that E3's been doing.
Okay, let me.
I'm
put
not
it
kidding,
this.
by the way. I'm literally getting out a blanket and a pillow.
Okay, let me put it like this.
Go ahead.
I acknowledge E3 did have issues, but I'm legit gonna miss it as a guaranteed place where big news and events could come, and also as a place where demos could be played.
Everybody has their own conferences nowadays.
True, yeah, and those conferences are
And
shown
just
to be
like
more
subscription
weight.
services, I don't want to have to go 30 miles just to experience one at a time.
Oh my god, I was right. This is Resident Evil 4
E3
VR.
Expos meant nothing to me after
it's for
2016.
VR instead of 8 VR.
I thought 8 already got its VR thing anyway.
Also for...
Well, considering this is for the PlayStation VR 2, I thought that it was an updated version.
Can we get these VR modes for the PC as well, so I have something to do with my index? Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
In development for PlayStation VR 2.
Oh, forgive me, Father, for I've sinned.
I think I can hear an echo from somebody.
You see, I was going to smoke this cigarette, but I accidentally smoked a grenade.
You see, everything started 2 years ago when I met Fred. And ever since then, it's like I see his face everywhere. And lately, I've started to develop some destructive tendencies. Whoosh! What do we have here? Well, what's a bit of harmless fun? Hello, uglies. Blah, 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 blah. And since I met my new best friend, I guess I get a little overprotective.
I mean, this doesn't even look like actual game. This looks like just a cinematic meant to simulate VR.
Okay, very
I've never really garnered and got on the big VR craze. Like, I get that
I can't get into VR. I can't.
Sorry about that, Rumi. You need to talk to me about something.
Let me put it like this. I think maybe when VR gets to the point where it legit feels like you're in the game, and yeah, I get to some people it is to that point, but for me, it's just, VR always has that caveat where eventually you'll realize you're just looking at a disembodied model with some floating hands, more or less.
Yeah, like VR games, like they're all practically kind of feel the same to some degree.
Yeah.
Oh.
And now
but at least games are being implemented for the PlayStation collection. You've got very little for PC, and that's kind of what irks me.
It's not helped also. It's not helped also by the fact that the VR headsets for PC cost a lot more for some reason.
Okay, let me put it like this. I've always felt that VR should be an extension, or if it is gonna have games to itself, you know, sure, games specifically tailored for it, but there are some times where it feels like a game could have been, or at the very least better off, starting off typically as a game, but coming with the VR mode.
Crossfire, yeah, that's blood.
I like how that logo is designed, where like the little gaps are like a bullet.
Oh,
or traffic.
This is not a board game.
I guess that's it for the VR.
Crossfire.
Well, he's going mercifully short. Now back to video games.
PlayStation.
Now it's VR.
Mine, there's another one.
That transition and expect me to. Like, I expect the change of pace.
Is this Deathloop potentially? Just in VR format?
That would be weird, but I guess that could potentially be it.
Same thing.
Someone's hand. What do you think? That voice sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Oh my god, literally the disembodied hands that I was just talking about.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a VR game. There it is. Wobbly camera movement and your disembodied hands floating in midair.
Again, look, to anybody who likes VR, all the more power to you. Just VR has never really been a thing for me. Also, I tend to be wary of expensive peripherals, especially ever since the Kinect.
And dreams. Alright.
I got motion sickness.
We saw a trailer of Beast previously. Okay.
Oh.
I used to play.
The problem I have with VR is just to make up for the fact of how VR works. You know, many of the games are just much slower paced. I like my games faster, snappier.
Or very short.
He used to develop some VR games over
Like
at school, so I guess I still have an attachment for it.
Batman Arkham VR is practically a joke.
Right, everything's so floaty, just by design.
It's like, okay, I feel like if you're making a peripheral, that peripheral needs to be able to support games that are on par with a typical game to warrant that extra purchase. And yes, I get it. Some people buy it for the principle. I just feel like VR still is not quite there yet.
And like it's a double-edged sword because we try to make a game as fast-paced and as precise as a regular game. That can be like inaccessibly hard.
Okay, I will give Beat Saber this. This is a game that actually does take good use of the VR in mind, since though it is one that
Is this like a sequel to Beat Saber?
I love the TikTok videos where it shows somebody.
Just more announcements for DLC stuff.
Oh, it gets better. Peaks. If I go.
Well, I love TikTok videos where it's just somebody playing this. And it's like, OMG, this is my first time playing it, and they're just like a master.
Honestly, the best part about it
is the Queen expansion.
Like beating and Beat Saber the entire Shrek.
Oh no, it's just. Yeah,
Queen. I miss a single note. They anticipate all the notes perfectly. OMG, that's my first time.
Okay, because imagine a singing mode on that. I get top Freddie Mercury.
Dwibs, I point you towards all the karaoke games.
Mushrooms.
Wait a minute.
Get the fuck out.
It's Sonic 2.
No, this doesn't get the fuck out.
Bug. Cyber bugs.
Oh wow!
It's the sequel to Death Stranding.
Bungie?
Oh, not new
It's
games.
Destiny.
Is it Destiny 2?
It's Destiny. I mean, like, remember, it's a PlayStation brand now. They own it.
It is Destiny.
That would be just.
It's a Modus HD.
Is it another expansion or finally a Destiny 3?
Like, even the aesthetic looks very non-Destiny-like.
It's a Mogus H3.
HD! If there's something that I learned recently is that apparently Bungie has been, telling the same narrative ever since their early days while trolling everyone by making it as the most scripted, disguised thing ever.
Good lord. Alright.
Like if it is Destiny, this is a very different look for Destiny. It's like these characters don't look like
maybe it's a spin-off.
I mean, he's dead. Like there should be a
Destiny
ghost, right?
Should a ghost
revive you?
What? Something glitched.
Oh snap!
I think that's the point.
Oh,
it's not Destiny.
A new IP.
Oh god, it's Marathon. That's basically one of their very first IPs.
Oh wow! Talk about a blast from the past.
It really doesn't look anything like Marathon, the old Marathon.
Do you think it's a remake?
Even
now
as a remake,
now
it does look weird because Marathon was conceptualized as a single player like Doom.
That logo transition. Yep, now an actual Destiny trailer.
All right, Sony, time to wave that massive Bungie dick in Microsoft's face.
I don't want you to say the words Bungie and Dick in the same sentence ever again.
Bungie Dick.
Thanks.
Now imagine that.
Well,
imagine that and realize the horrors you just brought into my mind.
Well, you told Jova that. Well, hey, you told Jova that. You didn't tell Deji that.
Yeah.
I wish you could have been there.
But yeah, no, like, I mean, Sony buying.
He's alive! He's alive!
Oh, snap.
This is basically, if you guys don't know, this was a character that was heavily liked by the fans, but they killed him mercilessly in one expansion.
Oh, it's because the developers hated
it. Oh, wait, hold on. It is Destiny 2 again, the final...
I guess it's the actually last expansion that they're gonna make.
PlayStation Studios.
Yeah,
I love how the Destiny logo is so small.
Oh, Fantastic Four.
This is
In favor of the...
Star Trek the motion picture? No!
It does look a bit like that, doesn't it?
2001.
Or 2001, yeah. 2001 A Space Odyssey, the video game.
How? Not how.
How will that even work? Burger.
Well,
Or
That's
maybe
a good-looking
it's Guardians
burger.
of the Galaxy. Nah.
Concord.
New
That
IP,
studio or game name?
Yes.
Concord.
It's a game name. Great, I don't know a thing about
using
it.
the Konami logo.
Yep, that was certainly a cinematic trailer.
I mean, that was a very good-looking burger they showed off.
So that's what happened. The Konami logo got a makeover.
I don't know what it was. Making food look so amazing.
I need dinner, and I'm hungry.
The amazing thing, Pix, is that sometimes they would do
movie,
Yeah.
Grant.
Oh, the Gran Turismo
I think you've gone in the wrong direction.
Goodbye.
So
I'd rather have another VR game.
So I just gotta say, the plot of this
Gran
movie.
Turismo's getting a movie?
The plot, the plot of this movie is basically let's make Gran Turismo players out to be real life racers.
Well,
this is
that
actually based off a real story.
It's based off a real story.
It's actually
That
the live
actually did
action
happen.
Turbo, guys.
Yeah.
A snake can't play in like a Fortune 500 race. Neither can someone who plays video games.
From the director of the Racism is Bad trilogy.
I
don't know what that means.
Okay, I don't think that's how physics work with that car.
Thank you for joining us today.
Spider-Man.
Oh, of course, they have one more thing.
Probably
You're not
Spider-Man too.
Bridge to the turnabout.
We had a few other announcements about hardware.
Innovation is our passion. And that applies to not just what games you play, but how you play them.
That's why we have so many first-person shooters.
That enables you to stream any game from your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. Internally known as Project Q, it has an
It's not even it's remote play only. It's just streaming.
Is that that iPhone? Is that that Android thing?
Okay.
It's a streaming machine.
It's similar to what the PS Vita was doing back in the PS3 days, I think.
Like Fallon pointed out, though, yeah, it's not like the Switch or Steam Deck. Like, you can only use it to play games essentially within the vicinity of your PS5.
PlayStation PlayStation Raycons. Now they cost $200.
Do not buy. On that note, do not buy Raycons. I repeat, do not buy Raycons.
Duly noted.
I bet them out of
What was that sudden zoom in?
That was
weird. Did people edit this?
I bet the way that's designed, Raycons wouldn't even work on their console.
Wait, hold on. Is that Kraven the Hunter?
Yeah, that,
I've been saying Kraven.
Kind of thing, yeah, makes it hint that he's
I think that's a Mook, not Kraven himself.
Yeah, there he is!
Boo.
Oh,
Is Craven
It's
usually
Spider-Man time, baby?
Yes, Libs, that's supposed to be a standard costume.
Uh-huh. That voice.
Behold, Choking the video game.
Usually, if you forgot to do Jova, Craven is usually voiced by Jim Cummings, so maybe it's him again.
Yeah, in the next 2 months for Spider-Man, I suppose.
Why does Craven look like Adam Lambert?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know who that is.
In hindsight.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Oh,
Choking the video game.
He played Camille on the Ratatouille musical.
Oh, I wonder who's his next prey.
It looks like the Ratatouille
A new
sequel.
hunting grounds. Ah, the concrete jungle, New York.
Stone, Spider-Man.
Oh, wait, there we are. There's our Spider-Man.
Lizard,
Spider-Man.
Taskmaster.
Oh boy, it's a whole iron jungle for him to hunt in.
Concrete jungle, Jova.
I was gonna say, that's an interesting way. That's an interesting way to promote Spider-Man. And
We don't really venom within the game,
Can we
so I
put the
do
Spider-Man
wonder how much
eating a
screen
bagel in the
time
middle of
each
New
villain
York?
is gonna get.
You know, it would be interesting if there actually is a Craven the Hunter mode for the game where you're just hunting down all these people.
With Aaron Taylor Johnson skin.
Sure, why not? 6 months later.
6 months later.
Also, was that legit a Sony building I saw?
I mean, wouldn't surprise me.
Oh shit, they dropped this in Flushing.
Oh no, it's Queens. Where's Fran Dressler? Where's the nanny?
Yeah, that's why I said Flushing.
It's all the Queens and a sneeze.
Oh, okay.
Oh snap, he's
Black
got the
suit. Hey,
symbiote!
the black suit here! He's got the
God,
symbiote.
edgy Yuri Lowenthal, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Sasuke.
Holy cow!
It's Sasuke.
So let me get this straight.
this
Not
is gonna
only
be
Sorry,
so
Joe,
cool.
sorry, Dej, I have the decency to not watch Naruto with an English.
So not only do we get to play as both Peter and Miles, but they got the flipping black suit in.
I mean, if they want to have Venom in the game, they kinda need to go through that.
Oh, we get to hear like a darker Yuri Lowenthal Spider-Man.
But
guess.
okay, but let's be honest. Will they be able to top Black Suit Spider-Man from the '90s animated series?
I mean, okay, the
Guys,
gameplay-wise...
probably will.
The gameplay-wise, the Black Suit reminds me a bit, actually, how the character was played in Shattered Dimensions.
It could be a throwback.
Again, if there is something we learned, is that Spider-Man video game seems to keep elements from previous ones, you know, from each other, even if they're not the same developers.
Switch to Miles.
Oh,
and you need to switch to the other character.
Okay, so-
Oh my God.
Differentiate.
yeah, just like Edge of Time. That is pretty cool, actually.
Oh, new
Well,
slingshot
it
maneuver.
seems to be more of a you can do it in a moment, like in scripted sequences.
Wait, web wings! Web wings!
Yes, the web wings.
Now
Thank
that
God.
is something.
Oh, that's so cool. You can ride the current.
And you fly through rings.
That's great.
Oh, these are some brand new
Well,
awesome
there's no time
mechanics
to
here.
waste.
They got here fast.
Just did Superman 64.
yes, we did. Oh, stealth
Alright.
takedowns.
Well, yeah, time to showcase instead
Little
a gameplay
Vulture
version of the
drone.
stealth
Oh, look at the UI. Look at the new like gadgets you have all times.
I like the way that they've taken Spider-Man for the future.
Oh yeah,
Or,
like,
again, it's still a bit dumb the fact that they changed Peter's face for the new status quo, to resemble more Tom Holland.
yeah, that is unfortunately a caveat. Thankfully, though, the game looks great gameplay-wise. Oh wow, a tri-web
These gadgets are cool. I usually don't really care about using the gadgets in Spider-Man, but you know, it looks like
Oh, the
it's more of an
gadgets are like
emphasis on
half
them.
the
Yeah,
fun
if
for
I
me.
already had to hazard a guess, it's probably gonna be Miles the one that's gonna snap a pizza out of the black suit, and that will lead to the creation of Venom.
Right. Where are you, Connors? Garage might lead.
Yeah, that's a good point. In this continuity, technically, I don't think Eddie Brock has been established yet.
No, he's
Well,
not been established yet.
They're probably gonna have him. Although the previous game did end with the teaser that he was, Harry
Oh,
Osborn.
yeah, it was Harry. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Harry.
Okay.
Which is something that the
Also,
Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
If you cut the dialogue, Miles is searching for the lizard apparently.
Yes, he's searching for Connors.
But yeah, like Dad's hinted at, in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, the only Spider-Man cartoon to have a proper conclusion, mind you, Harry was actually Venom. Oh snap!
Which funny means because for Disney Infinity, that was based on another Spider-Man cartoon. That means the Venom that was released for that game was Harry Osborn.
Huh?
With like Matt playing him.
That is something.
Although, but here I forgot. But if you lost with Venom in that game, he goes, "It's all Brock's fault," meaning he is Eddie, despite being Matt Lantner.
Although he does say it's Brock's fault. I'm trying to remember what Eddie Brock was in the Ultimate cartoon. It could be a reference to that. And yes, he shed his skin.
That's terrifying.
Almost like it's a lizard.
I like how they make it incredibly corpse-like, just to freak out the player.
That's like what Randall Shreddy's King does, yeah.
That thing's a companion, it's talking. What is that?
It's Pete talking to Miles.
Genki's the bird?
No, it's Miles talking to Genki.
Oh, Genki, sorry.
Because that bird was talking.
Hey, man. New threats? The building's swarming with hunters. Any sign of Connors?
So Genki is the freaking robot bird.
Bird up.
Yeah, the showcases really had a thing for birds.
But the date isn't complete.
Okay, I think I got a lock.
Pixy, wait, be chill. That wasn't me. Me neither.
Very funny. There he is.
Let's go.
Oh no, Dr. Connor's class.
You know, I still feel like the lizard should have just been like a one-time villain.
For what now? The comics?
In general.
When did Ezio get in here?
Oh, did you hear that? Harry's dying. It's the only one that can help, he said. So we are getting something about Harry.
Again, they wanted the Dr. Connor's DNA probably because of its regenerative capabilities.
Yeah.
This, ironically enough, sounds like an inversion of the plot in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So we're feeling daring today.
Spider-Man!
I seriously still wonder what they were thinking.
I'm guessing Kraven and the other mercenaries are people who were hired by the Oscorp Corporation in order to do it whatever it takes to get that sample.
Nah, it's because Kraven likes to hunt, so he's most likely
Well, it's more of a double
thing,
you know.
So in this version, the lizard can swim fast like a shark, it seems.
So we're basically we want our Killer Croc version.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
So
Kraven doesn't really give a shit.
I've got the metal murder bird! I warned you about going after Connors.
Oh boy.
Actually, I don't think I ever asked who was the composer of PS4 Spider-Man.
Now, John Paisano. He also composed Invincible.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
What a family name, Paisano.
I'm right behind you. We'll take it down together. No time.
It really is funny hearing Yuri Lowenfeld go for a deep, gruff, and aggressive voice.
Like, not even when he played the Dark Knight version of Cecil in Final Fantasy IV, it was that gruff.
Spider-Man, hang on.
Pete Senpai. God damn it, Miles.
Oh boy.
You wanna move it? Yeah.
Ah, yeah, stealth suit, right.
No, not stealth. It's just Miles naturally has the ability to go invisible.
Oh, that's cool.
Looks like someone hasn't watched Spider-Verse.
Nope.
Jay!
And Across the Spider-Verse is coming soon as well.
Alright, Jay.
Miles' whole thing is that he has electric powers and can go invisible.
Woo! Yeah, we definitely want our Killer Croc, I see. That being said, I do like how extensive this player showcase of the game is. And
like I said, they usually have those 20 minutes to showcase a gameplay demonstration, and this game is about to come out. So
Like, this is the one thing that's like really exciting me. Like the thing about this PlayStation conference, you know, I wouldn't say it's not bad, but this is the one thing that's like really getting
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, I'll give Sony this. Their state of plays I usually find to be ho-hum overall. But their showcases, they usually make sure to bring their A game for those. Which
I can't even say that. Like, I can't remember a single PlayStation showcase where I feel like, oh, that was good in years.
I forgot which one specific one, but to me also one particular example was the one where they finally reintroduced the first major trailer for the Final Fantasy VII remake. Was in January.
Yeah, I believe that was your showcase.
I'm not gonna lie, even now I still kind of feel it's a little mid. But that's more because a lot of the games that they were showcasing don't really intrigue me all that much.
Well, there's also the fact that, like, once again, Sony's relying on all the third-party titles. Sure, they have a couple of first-party stuff in there, but they mostly
Spider-Man from Menace.
Let me put it like this.
And there's like a lot of them isn't even like they're like, you know, they're big IPs. They're not resurrecting anything. And they're not, like, bringing back any of the heavy hitters.
Let me put it like this. It's not to Microsoft's meme levels of they have no first parties, but I do feel like Sony's issue is like, well, a lot of their first party RPs are already well-established IPs. You know, they're either sequels, a remake or two, but yeah, in terms of, like, new original stuff for the PS5 that you can only get on the PS5... Not really that much. That being said, Spider-Man 2, everyone.
The official Spider-Man 2.
If you were a fan of the first one, you're probably gonna get this one.
I do like it would be greater together, and then Venom is carrying over the together. Like he's refusing.
The symbiote does that, so...
Yeah.
And there's the console you can play on.
That sure was a conference, that's for sure.
So yeah, it's recap
It was
time.
clearly one of the conferences.
I do think like they have a good understanding of how the format should work. I feel like this whole rapid fire trailer thing, that's an improvement over some other showcases.
Yep.
But
showcase
yeah,
in the literal definition.
Have a lot here, I feel like, to justify it.
Yeah, like, again, there were good games here, but admittedly, again, a lot of the best games aren't really Sony exclusives, and
even their hardware reveals are like, the stupid streaming phone.
And the Raycon wannabes.
And the Raycon's like, oh,
that
wow.
fucking 8-prong controller, like a stop sign.
That's
like again, this showcase still just feels like an obligation, and they need to get as many third-party or indies as possible. Like, hey, we need to pad out our thing to be as hour-long as possible.
Admittedly, Nintendo does that too. Like, a lot of their streams get carried over by Square, well, they directly get carried over by Square Enix, so...
Okay, I will give Nintendo this, though. Their IPs usually are good enough to help carry things. Square has helped out, but it doesn't feel like they're relying on them as much. This...
I even give Xbox conferences some credit, because while they don't have any first-party games to save their lives, I feel like they do bring out, like, some pretty big third-party ones a lot. This is PlayStation, this is a lot of filler, with only, like, the occasional, like, big hitter.
Yeah, that's been my main issue with State of Plays in a lot of cases. Granted, State of Plays have always been that thing, like, where, look, with a Nintendo Direct, I'm certain there's gonna be something big. With State of Plays, that feels more like a lottery shot. And even when you do get the big thing, it's kind of like, oh, you really only tuned in for this one thing. PlayStation showcases are better, but they aren't perfect. That being said, now that we've come to the end of this showcase, let us recap our thoughts. Who wants to go first?
Can I go first?
Sure, go on, Dribs.
It was fine. I mean, there are some things I did like, even if they were just like, oh, we announced it, but we haven't got anything to show you, so here's a CG trailer. I like the Metal Gear Solid Triangle remake. Spider-Man looks pretty fun, and there are others that I'm forgetting.
Final
Fantasy
to go back
16,
and
watch, like... Yeah, Final Fantasy 16, aka 14. If you could do more than just run around and press keyboard buttons. Aside from it, okay, none of these games looked flat out bad or anything. You know, and And yeah, one thing I do appreciate about the showcase is that it's just game after game. There's not even like any like voiceover in the middle in between each game. You know, the ones that just give a little bit of a what you just saw, and then it comes out this day. Like we don't even get that. It's just zooms on into the next one, which again keeps up the pace, even if it did last over an hour. But most of the games. Again, they look fine, but the one I'm not going to go out of my way to get them unless they're on a sale or something.
All right, next one. Pixie, do you want to go next?
There were only a couple of the games that really caught my attention. Most of it, to me, just kind of felt... I'm not going to say it felt samey. There was a lot of variety in it, but it wasn't really, like, interesting to me. So it kind of just all sort of, like, blurred together for the most part. There were some games I remember that looked really good. I'm really impressed by the level of quality that everything had. Even if some games look kind of floaty. But I'm more on the lighthearted side of things, and all that was mostly like dark and gritty and like gory and violent. And the ones that were lighthearted, I'm looking forward to. I'm probably not going to play any of the like violent games, but it seemed like it was a pretty good showcase. For the most part, just not really much that I'm interested in personally. If that makes sense.
Sure, don't worry.
They all kind of felt like they were sort of bringing their A game, to be honest. Like, they were all competing with each other in terms of, like, I want to be the big game that everybody's talking about this year. And except for, like, some of the more lighthearted ones. Like, those ones were more just like, I'm just a cute, colorful adventure game. But even then, there was, like, a lot to offer. I can't really point out one that was supposed to be a showstopper, unless it's the Spider-Man one that they made, like, 15 minutes of animation for.
Yeah, the Spider-Man's meant to be the big one.
Yeah.
It's really the only reason this conference was made, really.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, the web wings looked really cool. The gadgets looked really cool. I'm probably not going to play the game, though, to be honest.
If it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. Alright then.
Also, I like Venom. I like Venom. Venom's cool.
Who doesn't? Especially Avi Arad.
Yeah.
Alright, that's for next, Failin.
Yeah, so I'm kind of on the same, wavelength as Pixie here. Like, I don't mean any disrespect to anyone who works on these games. They work very hard, and they deserve, that sort of spotlight, that big centerpiece. Because, being on a PlayStation stream is a big deal, and I can't undermine anyone's efforts to make it to that sort of state where millions and millions are watching them. It's props to you, and I want to, like, give claps to everybody. I don't think anyone's at fault here for, in the end, what is basically my preference, because I like the lighter-hearted games too, compared to anything being more gritty, more realistic, because I like the abstract, I like the unique, because that allows for more unique kinds of characters. I like the new format. I like that it is, trailer after trailer, where I feel like if I'm not vibing with something, something else is going to come around. But the problem is, I don't feel like this showcase justifies its existence enough. Like, if this is the big thing they're coming out, this is their thing for E3 season, you would say, I feel like this thing didn't warrant itself. Like, it only exists to show Spider-Man, and then the rest is just whatever we can fill for 40 minutes, aside from, like, the odd Metal Gear Solid big thing or whatever. Like, they even had to fill things up with a Gran Turismo trailer, for Pete's sake.
You're right. But I want to say really quick, I feel like Blade of the Sea looks really cool.
Yeah, Sword of the Sea does look really good. I do.
Oh, sorry, Sword of the Sea.
Sword of the Sea. I do like the one with that Bungie is making, that revival that isn't Destiny. That looked really cool. But in the end, the only thing that made me say, like, I want to buy that is Spider-Man. And I don't think that's a good thing to do for your showcase. Because, like, imagine, like, Nintendo conference, everyone's waiting for, say, a Smash reveal. But Smash can't be the only thing that keeps you sitting on your ass for an hour. You need more than that to talk about. And I feel like Sony, once again, sort of dropped the ball thinking... That's another thing. That's another problem I have with with everything Sony does, is that they put all their eggs into one basket. And then, you know, they look at all this excess time. It's like, what do we do with it? What do we do? And so that's why everything just feels so lackluster to me. And Sony really needs to get their crap together in like making sure they have a lineup of more first-party games of for a different variety of tastes, mind you, and then put that into a showcase. Because other than that, all we can talk about is that was a really cool Spider-Man trailer we got, and everyone else is going to forget about the rest, and that's sad. That's sad for everyone to put all their games into this showcase. And it's sad for Sony because it looks like, because in the end, what we're going to remember is just one game. Nobody wins. That's basically my 2 cents on the whole showcase here.
I think you sum up kind of a take I've had on State of Plays compared to Nintendo Directs. Nintendo Directs feel like every hit matters, from big to small.
Absolutely.
Maybe occasionally you'll get a bit of filler, but it feels like every hit goes into a strike, like regardless of what your taste is. State of Plays feel like they go for the big swings, you know, like you've got obviously your big 1-2 punches, but in between it's like, hey, here's whoever else we could bring.
And I can't even say it's a 1-2 punch. It's just a punch. It's a strong punch, but it's not a punch that can like really justify. It's like, you know, watching two people fight. You have somebody dealing out the rapid punches, like hit, but like it's their strong hit. And then there's just the one guy who's taking forever to wind up a punch. And
then the other guy's like scripted to fall over after he gets hit from that one punch.
Yeah, pretty much.
I say 1-2 because to give even this showcase credit, we did get multiple big things. Like we got the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, that's big news. You know, Street Fighter 6, although granted we already knew about that. Like, I mean, so they occasionally do pepper in like the big things. But yeah, normally with a State of Play, I'll give you that. Normally with there, it's usually just that one big thing, and that's usually like one big thing that you know is coming. With a Nintendo Direct, yes, they'll sometimes share some things, but more often than not, the one more thing that they more or less have kind of coined is often like, you know, a big surprise.
Yeah, the one more thing is very important, and again, Sony pulled the same tactic. One more thing, here's Spider-Man. But, again, we shouldn't just have to be there for the one more thing. That's just the sad part. And like, even their hardware reveals was so garbage. A streaming phone and earbuds.
Look. I'll just say this. In the day and age of the Switch and the Steam Deck, I really don't see the point of having just essentially a glorified remote play.
It's pointless because you need to be online for that sort of thing.
And you have to buy the console too.
Can I say something really quick? About Sony's claim that innovation is so important to them? Two things, okay? One, the vast majority of those games were like shooters, okay? Everyone's played a shooter, everyone. I'm sorry, but their big showcase for their newest products were literally just like, this is a Steam Deck, but it's PlayStation. Here's Raycons, but it's PlayStation, and Raycons will definitely not work with this because we'll design it that way, like Microsoft.
It's not even a Steam Deck, but it's PlayStation, because you know, that actually would be cool.
Like, if it was like new innovative technology, I'd be like, oh my god, that's actually really cool. But if it's just like, this is a Raycon, this is a Steam Deck, but it's PlayStation branded.
All right,
it's like, this is not innovative, this is a derivative in every way.
I think I pretty much made my summation. I think like the only other things I feel like they should have done is, one, if you were working on a hardware revision, this was the time to, you know, announce it instead of the streaming phone. And two, I would have liked, you know, an update at least a little bit on PlayStation's infrastructure, a little bit. Like, say, you know, new updates or, you know, more value for the PS Plus program. Talk about, you know, the subscriptions, what you will be adding to it. You know, that would be a cool thing to announce as well. Like, one of my favorite highlights.
It's the end of May. Why didn't they had a, you know, a segment where they talked about what the PS Plus games of June will be?
I mean, they don't have to. They don't have to.
They did that last time.
They usually do that for these kind of shows, though. I mean, that's Tios' point. It's like, it felt like a weird omission of sorts.
It's a weird omission, but it's nothing I'm not bothered by, because in the end, it's going to be a blog post somewhere. But I would like a new feature added to PS Plus. Like, look at what Nintendo did last time. What they did last time was, you know, introduce GBA and Game Boy to the plan, adding more value to it. beyond what is already there. Sony could have done something else. Either, maybe apologize for how lackluster the backwards compatibility program is. Like, PS1.
I will never forget how Jim Ryan apparently was confused at the idea people would want older games. But that's another story.
We're paying extra, like a lot more extra for that premium plan, and the big thing is because we get PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3 games, but they're like drip-fed to us, and they're like some of the most baffling decisions. Like, oh, you guys want Daxter for PSP? Screw you! You're getting Toy Story 3 for PSP. Not even the good Toy Story.
One of the worst games for the system.
That was certainly a choice.
Like, why? And like, be more transparent with that, and like give us more reason to why I am paying that extra premium for that.
I don't think Sony are as cocky as they were during the PS3 era, but I do feel like they are
if they
they're cocky. They are cocky still.
If they weren't already, they're definitely gonna get it now.
Yeah.
They are still cocky. And like, this doesn't show, again, Street, they think will be excited for a remote play phone.
Yeah, no, no. Like, I mean, look, there's a reason that stuff hasn't really been catching on in this day and age of, again, stuff like the Steam Deck and the Switch.
Like the Steam Deck and the Switch, they earn their value because it's not cloud-based. It's running natively off the hardware. You can play anywhere, no matter what your conditions are. Xbox, Xbox is, big on Xbox cloud gaming, but it's not like they made a phone for it. It's not an Xbox handheld they're marketing as. It's just, hey, here's your phone. Here's maybe some peripherals if you want it. You have fun playing your games online. They don't make it seem bigger by saying, like, Sony making proprietary hardware for remote play when they could be doing something else with that much money. It's annoying. It's like, it's very tone deaf.
I do wonder if Sony might be on the road to doing another bout of eventually their egos catching up with them, but hopefully things will get better for them. But does that conclude your overall thoughts, Fallon?
That concludes my thoughts.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, Jay.
I sit through these showcases from PlayStation wondering if I'm getting old as I watch through them. In my younger age, I'd probably be more hype with what's going on and shown in front of me, but nowadays the stuff that I'm more excited for, things that kind of go unconventional, or with stuff I'm more familiar with. Like, to start with, Fair Games was a quick, surprise, this is our game, and I kind of blinked and missed it. And then, opposite of that, Foam Stars caught my attention because it reminds me of Splatoon, and it's done by Square Enix. I grew up on their stuff. The MGS3 remake, absolutely. You hear "What a Thrill," and you're immediately hopped out of your seat.
Oh yeah, like Metal Gear Solid 3 is like, it's kind of like the game for people who don't know about Metal Gear, but can go, oh, I've heard about or played something, because yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 is just that title.
Like I said, well, I didn't say, but it's similar to Silent Hill 2. It just feels a bit, on the nose, the fact that Konami is mostly capitalizing on the more, directly on the more popular title instead of, re-releasing these games in the correct order of sequence. In this case, it's a bit more mitigated because we have the originals that are coming properly as a collection on their own. So at the very least, there is that, at least for the first 3 titles. So compared to Silent Hill, this is a bit better, but still, continue, Jay.
I was definitely hyped for Final Fantasy 17 or 16. 17. We're already jumping to the next one. But I already knew it was coming this way, and I like what Street Fighter 6 was because I like an OC-focused story mode to a series I grew up beside. And the same could be said for stuff like Tower of Fantasy, Dragon's Dogmas 2, FNAF Help Wanted, Teardown, even though I don't have a lot of care about it because it's just not my complete shiggy dig. But then there are things like Marathon, Ultros, Helldiver 2, Neva, Ultros again because I just don't really care about it, Crossfire Sierra Squad, Arizona Sunshine, Revenant Hill, AC Mirage, and especially that Gran Turismo movie that just did not belong here. I sit through this stuff hazy-eyed and just not bothering to keep up with what's in front of me. It's a bunch of dull, muted colors, giant worlds, a lot of things that are needed for the nostalgia factor, upbeat pop cherry factor stuff, and just especially guns. I don't know what it's been, but for all of the good that we've had, for all of the stuff that I'm a sucker for when it comes to like RPGs and adventure games and things like that. It's just a lot of the same thing for the past decade. And maybe that's just because that's PlayStation's presentation. It was like Phil was saying earlier, with it just being a haymaker, one big, powerful punch to make sure you can remember it by. But there's no substance behind the way that they show things. And in my opinion, that's just not all that intriguing. Everything about it is, wow, it's here. Make sure you pay attention to it. Come buy our stuff. All right, but what is it? What do you mean you're not satisfied with the surface? And I guess when I was younger and way more into games, that would have easily sold me. But no, I need more if I'm going to spend my money on it. And not a lot of it really did sell me for what it was worth. This one especially was pretty mid. And that's the long and short of it for me. It was fun to sit through, but yeah, no, I don't care for most of it.
It's only fun to sit through because I got you guys.
Jay,
definitely.
Jay, I don't think that it has anything to do with you like getting older or anything like that. I think it's just like your tastes have changed, and you've also learned to see past this bullcrap, and that's not like necessarily indicative of like you like getting old and like bored with the state of things. It's more like you have learned to accept more. You have learned to like settle for less. Sorry, to not settle for less, rather. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing, because like I don't know, like a lot of this to me sort of felt like stuff for other people that they would probably be interested in, and
yeah.
While the quality of it, like visually, looks outstanding for all the games, they just, I don't know, nothing was really all that exciting to me.
We were shown so many things and then shown nothing at the same time.
Yeah. I think that has to do more with like the fact that we kind of just, we want something different. We don't want the same every time.
I think it's come to the realization for me that yes, Pixie, you are completely right. It's not just that I'm older, it's more that I'm learned to take some more substance for the things I want. I can't settle for less. But I think that's what I specifically mean. These trailers aren't really shown for me. It's shown for another audience.
Yeah.
More
PlayStation is a
excitable
completely different audience now.
And that's why I feel like I'm getting old. It's not because I'm not satisfied with what's in front of me. It's because it's not here to be shown for me.
That's the thing, though. I don't think that it's for the younger generation in this case. I think that it's kind of folly to make that distinction, because like kids have wildly different tastes. They're not like a hive mind. Okay.
Also, Pixie's a point because a lot of the games that Sony is first party releasing are supposed to be rated R.
Yes, I don't think that kids are supposed to play games like that. But what I am saying is that
that won't stop them.
Right, but like I don't think it's their audience target.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to say is that like I think it's folly to say that like, you know, oh, this is just for kids, this is just for adults, because like, at least in this case, because the majority of those games that like kids could play, adults will also want to play. I'm pretty sure, but it has to do more with like people's particular tastes and what they're willing to settle for, because like as far as I know, like people don't just all think the same. Like,
oh yeah, no, they're unique.
Even before your brains are fully developed, people have tastes, and people have like things that they're willing to put up with and things that they're willing to settle for. And I think that a lot of people assume that because they're not kids anymore, that just every kid thinks the same, and I don't think that's true. I don't think that every kid is willing to put up with that quality like drop. I don't think that every kid is willing to settle for less necessarily. I think that a lot are, but I don't think that every kid is.
I guess what I'm trying to say, it more than throwing excuses for why it could be this way. I think what I'm really trying to say is that it makes me a little upset because I did grow up with the PlayStation in my teen years, and a lot of the more rated T to M, those kinds of games I was and always have been like really big into, but nowadays I can see that they're still in the middle of growing up others. So in me for me, it's just not any more interesting.
So you feel like you've gone past the demographic that PlayStation is aiming for? Oh, sorry, that Sony's aiming for?
Yes.
PlayStation as a different company.
Yeah, I guess at this point in time, the rose-tinted classes for Sony and PlayStation have just kind of crumbled for me, and that's a little depressing.
Okay. I know what you're saying.
I feel like it may be a combination of things. One thing to take into mind was the big shift for Sony. That started with the turning point of the 7th generation of gaming, wherein the focus suddenly became on graphics. And in focusing on graphics, they decided to go for a more realistic affair. And we know that that caused a lot of other companies, most notably Naughty Dog, to go on massive shifts in tones of direction here. And keep in mind, Sony's, let's be honest, rather tone-deaf response to people wanting a mascot was to make the Knack series. And yeah, if you've heard about the Knack
series, I want a Knack for this showcase.
If you know about the Knack series, yeah, you know how that went well under. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't until, like, you know, the Crash remakes, which Sony funded, that, yeah, it seemed like Sony weren't really getting that message. And even still, I'd say, while they occasionally have the good cartoony platformer here, like with their latest Ratchet & Clank game, I do feel like the Sony of back then have also changed. So I wouldn't say it's just about of you getting older. It is a case of Sony changing their direction, not entirely for the better. It's also a thing that when you grow up, you realize that time is limited. Like, as a kid, you pretty much are A-okay throwing your time and stuff to the wind just because you can enjoy stuff easier. But as a grown-up, you realize money is limited, time is limited. You don't want to waste your money and time on something that does not feel as much worth it. Especially when, you know, you curate your own niche of tastes as you grow up. And Sony just aren't hitting that bell for you. That's just my take on the situation.
I think you're definitely right to that. In terms of art, I'm a writer more than I am an artist.
Mm-hmm. Well, writing is still okay. Writing is still a form of artistry.
Nah, that one was a joke.
I keep telling him this in our streams, but he doesn't listen.
I'm making the joke. It's a boomerang.
Let him cook.
That's all I gotta say.
All right.
I feel like I'm probably the most optimistic person here. Like, I thought the showcase was fine, nothing mind-blowing. And there were some things that appealed to me, but obviously there's not going to be everything made catering to me. There was something I noticed this, and I don't want to be that mad guy. Too many shooters.
That's what I said.
Jeff Keighley moment.
And it just felt like it's hard to distinguish them from each other. Like the very first one that we saw called Fair Games, it reminded me of that Sega game that they're making called Hyenas, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one where there's a guy with a helmet and suits that resembles Sonic.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, that's. I think it would have helped if we saw some proper gameplay, but no. Then they announced Helldivers 2, which I'm not familiar with. But I did lose him when the guy said, "Freedom is yours." It's just 4 people in an enclosed area.
It's like taste true freedom, and you ever just shoot it. Like I said, that it really does feel like that kind of humoristic parody fascist propaganda of Starship.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, like I said,
Sony knows how to do that well. If you remember those Kevin Butler commercials.
I don't think any of you actually remember, but it do remind me a bit of the trailer for the multiplayer that back in the day Starhawk was having on the PS3. They were on this kind of humor level.
I'm sure Immortals might be fine, but it doesn't look like my thing. Are any of you guys familiar with Ghost Runner?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen bits of Ghost Runner. I know Ghost Runner is like free on like everything I have, so like they just give me Ghost Runner.
Oh really? Maybe I'll check.
Like I have Ghost Runner on PC, I have Ghost Runner on PlayStation 5. I wouldn't be surprised if I have Ghost Runner on Game Pass, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I haven't played it, but I'm familiar with it because it's everywhere.
that Phantom Blade, I'm gonna keep an eye out. There's just something about it that fascinates me.
Is that the one with the really cool swordplay?
Yeah, the Ronin one.
Yeah,
That
looks.
The franchise it's supposed to be attached to, and apparently there's only one game that's more of a side scroller kind of thing. So this is sort of an evolution of the franchise.
Hey, you know what? I want to check out Sword of the Sea because what I saw of Journey looked fun. This feels like okay.
Yeah.
We're taking it with no disrespect. It feels like we're taking advantage that this is a video game.
Yes.
Why would that be disrespectful? That's like literally what that's not a bad thing.
You will be surprised at the peaks.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of. I'm also tired. Me being older, but I'm tired of seeing CGI trailers. No, Des.
Nothing about being tired.
That has nothing to do with you being old. That is something that people have rightly called out. Like in this day and age, unless you're like a sequel to a very well-known series of game or whatnot, no, don't try and sell people on just a CGI trailer with no gameplay.
What's with the chat and just everybody feeling like they're old just because they're not enjoying something? Like, you don't have to enjoy everything to be young. The world has changed dramatically in just the past couple of years. Like, literally everything got shut down. It's no wonder that everybody feels different and nothing feels the same anymore. Like, it has nothing to do with the games. It has nothing to do with your age. It has everything to do with the fact that, like, everything's changed. Nothing is the same. Like, it's not as good as it was back then, but it could be better.
The Square Enix's take on Splatoon, I want to see how that goes down.
Yeah, that looks cute.
I want to know what Shirei thinks of it.
Yes, that's exactly
Shirei is
what...
our go-to expert when it comes to Splatoon, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
I also need her opinion on Cat Quest as well.
I really want to play Cat Quest. That's one of the games that I was looking at.
Yes. What was that night one? The storybook
Lucky
page.
Squire,
That's it.
That's probably one of my most anticipated games.
And then I can't even call that a Sony win because Nintendo revealed that first.
Well, no,
also
Devolver revealed that first.
Also, that Night in the Woods game looks good. Yeah.
I never played Night in the Woods.
Revenant Hill.
Revenant Hill.
No opinion on that. The Metal Gear Solid collection is great because now I finally have an excuse to finally play these games.
I have to laugh at the fact that it still did not include Metal Gear Solid 4 in that collection. It will always include...
You know why they can't include 4. That game was like too big.
Not just that, I get the idea that they are probably just content to have it for the PlayStation Now service on a more streaming capability.
It just felt so weird that the conclusion... It just feels so weird that the conclusion to the Snake Saga has not officially left the PS3 in, God, almost 2 decades now.
You know what else they should announce? What? No, wait. It said Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1, so that means that they're going to make a Volume 2.
Probably. If I had to guess, probably including the portable titles like Peace Walker.
You think they'll announce Rising because this year is its 10-year anniversary? And
probably,
like, guys,
and Quinton Flynn did hint at something on that front.
Yeah, it's like guys, come on, strike while the iron's hot.
Now that would be
is there another Rising game other than Revengeance?
So...
No. That would be something interesting. A Metal Gear Rising sequel announced in conjunction with the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3. Or Metal Gear Solid.
On that note, I sent it to Terrence, and he does bring up a good point. I'm shocked that they're doing 3 instead of 2.
I would think the one to be shocked about would be that they aren't doing 1 first. Well, okay, unless you count Twin Snakes, but Twin Snakes is kind of like, you know, its own completely different story.
And it has actual Nintendo references, so unless they actually re-recorded the dialogue, they cannot really, you know, transport that on a different console.
I do need to know, is Snake Eater considered to be the best one?
By many, yes. it's like, okay.
You really need to ask. People have different opinions.
Okay. Let me put it like this. It's the Final Fantasy VII of Metal Gear Solid, as in, it's probably the most popular of it, in that regard.
Okay, that explains it.
Now,
because I would always figured it was the original that was the... Nah, you gotta remake that properly.
But whatever. Again,
Final Fantasy 16. I'll be honest. I've seen enough of that game that I'm already sold. So the trailer didn't do anything for me. I'm not excited or disappointed. I'm just like, yep. The game still looks good. I can't wait for it. Grand Blue Fantasy versus Relink.
Relink, yeah.
I hope that game is good. I know, remember, Platinum Games was initially on that project, and then their contract was
that
up,
was like that game that was like that Island 2. It was stuck in development hell for a lot.
Yeah, so I'm just curious. Will this game turn out good?
I mean, Dead Island 2 turned out to be good, surprisingly, so who knows?
Yeah, it just recently sold 2 million copies. Ultros, I believe that's what it's called. The Metroidvania
Oh, right,
game.
yeah, Ultros.
It looks fine. You'll see. I'm happy for Tio that he finally got Dragon's Dogma 2.
I mean, I cannot really consider myself a big fan of the first one. But remember, it was released in a time where every new game that Capcom was making was heavily scrutinized to find the one thing that could, be exploited to say, see, this sucks too. So at the very least, him standing on his ground is a testament to how, the quality is. And finally getting a sequel after the fan base that it built up was actually, is actually refreshing.
And on better technology, it has the potential to be a much better and stable game.
Still, I do hope that the pawns, shut up a bit more in this one instead of telling me once again that Wolf's hunting packs.
There was a lot of VR games. I know they're trying to sell us on PlayStation VR, but yeah.
Sorry, I was just scrolling through this on Twitter for a bit. Xbox just made a tweet saying, "What a good-looking group," and just shows off every single third-party game shown at that PlayStation showcase, saying, "Here's credit for Xbox." If that's not telling, I don't know what is.
The Bungie game Marathon apparently is going to be a PvP title.
Yeah, from what I checked in the meantime as well. Apparently, it seems to be more focused on multiplayer, which, like I said, it's weird because back then Marathon was made as a Doom clone, but was heavily based on story. So I have no idea what they can. I mean, it is possible because it was still a shooter, but I don't understand why would they choose that in order to make multiplayer focus setting, especially because it tends to be, like I said, heavy on the plot and very mind screwy. In how it tells things. So I don't know. Look,
I'm not too familiar with Destiny, but I just remember that. Like him when he played the game because it felt like an executive meddling. It's like we like Guardians of the Galaxy. We need our own Rocket Raccoon.
Also, if I recall correctly, that guy was voiced by a celebrity, but then
he was voiced by Nathan Fillion.
But then midway through, we just changed to Nolan North because the actor did not give a shit anymore.
It was Nathan Fillion for Destiny.
To Peter Dinklage, what happened with the first game.
It was Nathan Fillion for everything until he died. Then that was Nolan North.
That's funny.
Wow.
And again, so today, kids, use voice actor and treat them properly.
Yes.
But to be fair about Cade 6, I'm just looking over. Cade was introduced in Destiny 1. He was a character all the way at the beginning. And Destiny 1 came out in September of 2014. While Guardians came out in July of 2014, so he wasn't made as a response to Guardians, but maybe he was pushed for the promotion of Destiny 2.
Potentially, you have to remember that Destiny has been in development for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly. So Cade was always around.
Okay.
But it's a good thing because Cade, I don't really play Destiny. Sometimes maybe I drop in, but the only character I remember from Destiny is Cade. So, like, you know, that's why they made it a big deal that they were going to kill Kate off in expansion, and why I was like, hey, he's back, because we saw him here. I was like, hey, the one character I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is someone from who plays Destiny. Like, this is what I was told. There was, at his funeral scene, it was most of the characters were dunking on him. It's like, yeah, and it came off as a way as the developer saying, we don't like this character. Activision made him more prominent.
It's funny. It's funny because in that case, because again, the little bit of Destiny I know. Because obviously he is a beloved character. If they're killing him off to make a big thing about killing him off, they know he's beloved. If developers do hate him, it is funny the send off they give him because they actually make your protagonist speak for that. Because your protagonist is silent, but Cade's death was enough to have your character speak that he's going to kill the man who did this.
It's similar to what stuff like God Eater did.
And then there's Project Q. I don't get what they're. Okay, a portable PS5, that's fine, but the fact that it's just remote play, that's no.
Bad. So bad.
Like Jill said, in a world where the Switch and the Steam Deck exist, this is
essentially what Google was doing with Stadia.
Yeah, and how's Stadia doing? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and then they announced Airbuds, and someone mentioned Raycons, and I got angry.
Like, the fact that this feels like a step back from the flipping V of all things is just telling.
And the main course, Spider-Man 2, oh my god,
I gotta say, guys...
Wait, do you... Okay, since Peter starts off with the black suit, do you think that he's going to drain health at the more you play as him, and he has to beat up people in order to gain more health? Because, let's be real, they're not going to let Peter Parker eat people.
That's what separates him from Venom, after all.
Yes, yeah. Like,
Here's
I am so excited for this game, like you would not believe. It's amazing how many times this franchise always adapts the black suit storyline. It's Spider-Man, Flashpoint.
That's the thing. That I remember the black suit. The first appearance of a black suit was in a massive crossover event, the original Secret Wars. So of course, when it comes to when Marvel did that with not really the idea of the story being adapted in the future for anything. So whenever it came to adapt, they had always the caveat that they could not just start in the middle of this big event with all these other characters. So they had to come up with something again. For all the problems that Spider-Man 3 has, they did made a more compelling, origin story for Venom.
Well, that was because they took notes from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, it came from space. So here you go.
Honestly, one thing I've noticed is, like, we've talked about it with Spider-Man video games, but also with Spider-Man movies and TV series, you see some take a bit of notes from the previous stuff. Like, the Raimi films took a lot of notes from the 90s series, and in turn, a lot of later Spider-Man material would take notes from the Raimi trilogy. Although, I'll admit, not much Spider-Man stuff has taken notes from the Amazing duology for reasons.
You say that, but we literally start in here by chasing the lizard. So.
You know what? That's a good point. So, I guess to be fair, post No Way Home, I can definitely see them taking
There are
cues.
elements that you could take from the TASM stuff, and I still can't believe that they're actually taking one of the few good elements from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and possibly making Harry Venom.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see.
We shall see, indeed.
Just as long as they don't call Miles Kid Arachnic.
Oh God, the Kid Arachnic.
He called it Spin now, right? Like, I know, like, there's the new cartoon series for, like, Disney Junior, and I think the name they gave Miles is Spin.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's the thing about Spider-Man 2 that has me thinking, is that obviously we have this new Venom mechanic. Obviously, it needs to, like, come and go. So like eventually he's gonna lose that ability. So I still hope in free roam, say after we beat the game, I can still use those cool Venom abilities. But the other thing is costumes. How are the costumes going to work? Because one of the coolest things about Spider-Man.
If we're going to get symbiote variations of the spider costumes.
Yeah, and if we don't, then that means we're gonna have like really weird cutscenes of like Spider-Man of say someone's wearing like the bombastic Bagman suit, and then start shooting black tendrils out of their hands, and then as it forms, it just clips through the body until it just disappeared. It's just gonna look so awkward.
It reminds me of how in Spider-Man 3, you could have some scenes where Peter wasn't wearing the black suit because you could choose to have that on or off, and he would act aggressive. I guess the idea was that the black suit was with him altogether, but
because it changed to his normal clothes.
Oh, you know what would be funny? If we could get the Spider-Man free black suit, that would be a great.
That would be an awesome costume. I mean, hey,
give me my Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, guys. Come on.
Yeah, that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit is the best live-action Spider-Man. No cap. Please just announce that there are no Mary Jane stealth sections.
Please.
Yeah, those.
Or at the very least, like reskin them. Like, it looks like Black Cat coming back. At the very least, reskin it to be Black Cat, so I can at least punch somebody if I get caught.
Dedra.
Yeah.
Monkey Spawn, you're getting Gwen Stacy's television. You're done, Dedra?
Yep.
All right, then. Yeah, I'll go next year. I will say this. Overall, I did like the showcase, with the caveat of knowing not to exactly expect the most from Sony. Again, like Fallon said, this is not to disrespect anyone who puts their stuff into these things, because no, it is an honor to make it onto the showcase. Again, I feel like part of what does some of them a disservice is the fact that it feels like in some cases Sony kind of lumps some here and there. Like, again, they lumped the shooters a bit together. And yeah, that really just makes them feel a bit like they blur. No offense to shooters, it's just that even with some of the best shooters, eventually there is only so much you can do with the genre. Now, granted, there are some ones that definitely do spiff stuff up, like, Gears of War, back before it went to crap, War for Cybertron series before it got killed, and Bioshock, which may be dead or alive, no pun intended. The point is, I feel like while Sony did have some things a bit off, they did try to make up for that in other avenues. I will say this, the pacing was good. They kept the stuff going at a relatively good pace, and for the most part, let the games do the talking. I say for the most part because we unfortunately did have the Return of the Menace CGI-only trailers. God damn. I mean, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. In this day and age, unless you're like a sequel to like something like Smash or Crash Bandicoot, any big franchise where we know essentially how the game's gonna be, no, don't expect people to get hyped for a cutscene only trailer. Unless it's something incredibly story-based, but yeah, not so much the case here. That being said, the big hitters that they had, of course, we've talked about Spider-Man 2. That was obviously the showstopper. Street Fighter 6 looks like it's going to be good. Dragon's Dogma was a nice surprise. We do, however, have another caveat. A lot of their heaviest hitters are multi-platform.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mentioned that the Xbox tweet literally has every single third-party thing on their Twitter now.
And even if it's not for Xbox, he's at least on PC.
Yeah.
Forget that.
And some of them probably even coming to Nintendo, surprisingly. But okay. To talk about Metal Gear Solid 3, one thing I have noticed is that the collection that they are, showcasing alongside Metal Gear Solid Delta is the original Snake Eater, which leads me to wonder if the reason they retitled it was just to mask the fact that, hey, we're kind of releasing Free alongside Free, or, and this is my personal hope, Metal Gear Solid Freeze Remake is going to have some notable divergences that would, you know, justify having it alongside an original one. So, yeah, high hopes there. The not sequel to Journey looks like it can be pretty fun. And like I said, I did like the trailer marketing for the game that I called We Have Starship Troopers at Home. The Samurai game looks like it can be fun. So yeah, to give Sony credit, I was not particularly bored here. I will admit, doing these group commentaries does help with engagement of the stuff a lot because, you know, you got people discussing stuff. But I will say, if I were watching this on my own, I probably wouldn't have tuned out because the pacing was just good enough that even though there were landmines of filler, you know, once you got through that, I'd say you got back to, you know, the eye grabbers relatively quick enough. But I do feel that Sony do really need to refine their craft with making these digital shows. Like, yes, following the direct model is a good step in the right direction. But I don't feel like they're completely the way to the point where... I don't think they're to the point of Nintendo Directs where they absolutely garner high amounts of hype. Like, let me put it like this. Nintendo's Directs are constantly rumored to a point where people will spout those just to get attention. Sony's State of Plays and showcases are not to the point where people go out of their way to fake a showcase. Now, I'm not saying that it's never happened before, but you're more likely to have heard a bunk direct rumor than you are to have heard someone trying to clamor in on the glory of, say, a PlayStation showcase. And for obvious reasons. That being said, overall, I feel the show was fine. Potentially good, even. Like, try and work more with the good stuff. Although, I do feel this is a sign that Sony do need to curate more of their actual first-party IPs or get some stuff in motion. Because, yeah, this did have a bit of the Microsoft eccentricisms. And that's the thing about Microsoft. Yes. They have the problem with the third-party stuff, but I'll give them credit that with those third parties, they have given exciting shows. Now, I'm not saying that that excuses their lack of first-party stuff. In fact, that is one of the things that is still their biggest issue, although they seem content to accrue sales with, you know, PC, because that's technically their market as well. Overall, it was a good show from Sony. But there is still room for improvement. Which leads us to Tio. Close us out with your thoughts.
This was alright. Nothing too special, if I have to be honest. I prefer some of the previous State of Plays, but this one was actually alright. As mentioned, it includes a lot of third-party stuff, more than first-party. And well, to be fair, there is stuff we didn't know properly. Like Helldivers 2, I think, was the best trailer, all with new stuff that especially was first party that we didn't know. That kind of snappy type of, you know, satire humor, I think works for the better. There were still also some surprises. We didn't even talk about, like the Taos Principle too. But like I said, most of these are, you know, third party anyway, at least on PC, not also on Xbox.
And this just in, bad news, Alan Wake 2 is apparently a digital-only title.
Not just that, on PC it's only for Epic Games, because, you know, as you noticed, the publisher. But the big thing that none of us actually have talked about instead, and I tend to remind a bit when it happens, even with Nintendo Direct, is instead the apps. Because there are some third-party games that, as far as we know, that are coming, and they have at least a fixed date, mostly on PlayStation. Namely, Pragmata from Capcom, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth from Square. Both of these are supposed to be listed to be released this year, but we haven't seen a single gameplay trailer from either. So I smell another delay for Pragmata, and I think that I suspected pretty much since it was announced, that another delay for 7 Rebirth to instead probably spring next year.
I'm going to put my cards on, say that the reason why we haven't seen 7 Rebirth is that they're waiting for 16 to come out.
If so, that's a big risk because again, 16 is supposed to come out like in the middle of the summer. At that point, Square will not have that many months in order to aggressively market the Rebirth,
I
unless
wonder
they
if they'll
actually delayed it by a couple of months.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if to make up for that, they'll delay it for a Christmas sale.
Well, it's okay. Fall already, I was believing it was gonna be that anyway. Not clearly not autumn, but instead, winter. But if I had to guess for a delay, probably March or April 2024. That's my best guess. And of course, because of this factor, we're not even gonna begin to think about Kingdom Hearts 4 instead. That's probably gonna be for the fiscal year of 2024, 2025 anyway, at least. But again, those two are the big absence that are tied specifically to PlayStation. That I don't, and like I said, if these are not the type of games that are for next big announcement is just an article slapped on Gematsu or Siliconera, with a small video about it. No, they really do feel games that should have been showcased, in a state of play like this one, for example. So I get the idea that's why they're getting delayed, and they're now probably gonna get rules soon enough. I'm glad if I'm proven wrong, mind you, but who knows? As for Spider-Man 2, again, it's pretty much what I expected. I feel still a bit of, strangeness of whoever does these trailers or gameplay showcases for these conferences, because it's something that happens even for the Horizon games, for example, or God of War. They always choose the parts of the game that are more heavily scripted to hype up more the audience, say, look at this cool thing. And it's a crime because these games do have actual gameplay overall, and it's very substantial. But again, using these bits for the trailers and everything ultimately continues to push this narrative that Sony cares more about the style over the substance, and cares more about making games that resemble more movies instead of actually, being proper video games, when it's only a half-truth. Yes, there is some veridicity in that, but at the same time, as proven by their predecessor, these games do still have solid gameplay overall. The problem is again this fucking marketing, and it doesn't help because again this contributes to this ultimate narrative, which gets reinforced by people circle jerky on sites like Twitter, and ultimately goes around and around until it basically self-fulfills. This is also what the others have mentioned, also stuff like backward compatibility or the type of games that Sony is not making anymore first party. Like think about it, the last major time Sony had technically a first party, something they published that was technically a JRPG, an RPG made by a Japanese studio, completely Japanese studio, was Bloodborne. And that was probably because they subcontracted from software. If we're gonna go even back, that would probably be White Knight Chronicles 2, I guess.
It's really amazing how Sony didn't be like, okay, Bloodborne's good, we see the rise of Dark from Soft, make us another game.
Again, Sony is just content in actually creating exclusivity deal with third-party titles, which does make sense to some degree, but it makes the overall general behavior lazy. Like 1 or 2 years ago, I actually got to finally play Tales of Berseria and I had a blast. But a lot of the time I was like, damn, I wish Sony had a first-party title that was like this,
In regards
with this kind of cel-shaded anime style, and actually was more an RPG than anything. Sorry, go on, Jova.
In regards to what you were saying about how, these showcases are shot, do you think maybe, and again, this is going off of the assumption, but do you think maybe they need to get, like, a new director for these showcases that at least, again,
no idea, Jova.
shows the games off?
I don't know if it's the same person, or if it's a general behavior that, the higher-ups at Sony dictate to each studio and be like, do this.
And it's really messed up because I'm sure you're familiar with the Wild Arms franchise.
Yes.
I know, like, they made the developers from Sony Japan Studios who left made a spiritual successor and had a Kickstarter.
Yes.
It's just like, okay, if they were able to make this on seems to be a decent budget as far as we're aware. I'm just wondering, why didn't Sony just try to greenlight this? At least it'll say, like, you'll have some variety.
Like I said, that it's cynical, but yes, they just don't care. They care more about the style over substance. if people are lucky, we're gonna get something like Table Scraps for stuff like, say, Sackboy, Big Adventure, which I played recently, and honestly, as a platformer, is actually great, And I'm like, yeah, Sony studios that are employed by Sony can make, even decent platformer. So why don't they actually employ more for reviving some of their old stuff? Not even just the immediate stuff that you can think of, like Jack and Dexter's, like etc. But even some of their older IPs like Ape Escape, Blasto, stuff like this. But no, what they want is something that milks the shit out of the graphical potential, and as a result, sacrifices part of the gameplay in order for the spectacle. And because they probably think that these old APs do not fit that standard anymore because they will need to be super upgraded or something, they just deem them not worthy to be continued. And I'm like, that's a waste. Like, that's a big waste. Nintendo is surely not giving a shit on this matter. And look, we got actually a new Metroid last year.
Oh, God.
I just feel like a smart thing to do is have a healthy balance between the two.
Like I said, Nintendo seems to be the one that's doing it. Honestly, if you ask me, I reiterate something they said of 1 or 2 years ago. Sony and Microsoft should just fuse together at this point because they perfectly complement each other.
Yeah.
On one hand, you will have the first-party titles that are super milking the graphic, and are pleasing more the movie crowd. On the other, you will still actually have a range of, other IPs that will probably be satisfying, more people like me, instead of, and still savage more the old IPs, even if it's not covering all the entire ground, and an actual care for backward compatibility.
It really makes me wonder, since going off of What Happened episodes, there could have been a situation, a universe, where Nintendo technically were the ones in charge of a Sony console, and then before that, apparently Sega could have been the ones who had a Sony-made console. Like, how different would it have been if either of those had gone with Sony in that regard? Because, like, both of them have some things that Sony lack in that regard. Like, imagine how different, like, okay, I'd imagine they might have still gotten on the trend of getting realistic stuff, but I feel like they would have still have kept their more cartoonish presence or overall stuff that,
like I said,
helps with the
this
games
is not
in
helped
general.
by the self-fulfilling narrative that I keep saying started with the PS3 era. The stuff, essentially, the company saying, see, we don't really need this. Look at the stuff that we have. The audience is like, yeah, this stuff is good. We don't need this anymore. And when someone tries to raise a voice, you just don't understand, or you don't want change. Ryan Reigns repeat. And occasionally, when something gets revived, for one occasion or another, maybe an accident or something, that product doesn't tend to be particularly good enough, so it reinforces the narrative circle.
I'll say this. Studios need to stop shooting for the goddamn moon with some of these expectations. Like,
Yahtzee, I showed this a video to Dej recently. Yahtzee made a very, very compelling video explaining exactly what is the problem and keep aiming at this graphical fidelity and these massive games that with 100 gigabytes, but instead the indie scene continues to prove them wrong by churning out good quality titles that don't require that much thought, but instead prefer the artistic value and actual prioritize gameplay, or everything, without having to sacrifice story most of the time, But again, it feels more like the big, at least when it comes to the big two, in this case Sony and Microsoft, the first priority is again the idea of should we or should we not instead milk the shit out of our graphical potential instead of how much do we need to sacrifice for this. But again, that's ranting too much for something that is not even the object of this showcase. Anyway, like I said, I liked a lot of the other third-party stuff, like Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, and Final Fantasy 16, like I said, it's gripping me for the story, but I cannot in all consciousness approve of what they did with the gameplay for a different variety of reasons. I'm sure, like I said, the story will be good, and I'm interested to see what Clive will do in crossovers like the City Opera Omnia, because probably it's going to show up soon enough for promotional purpose. Again, it's also nice to see Square Enix actually still having new ideas, like the Splatoon clone, in this case with Champagne, If it wasn't for the fact it doesn't work anymore because of the art style, I thought for a second Yuji Naka worked on this. But well, again, I'm curious to hear what Shiri will have to say on the matter. I think that's pretty much it. Although I am sure I'm forgetting something, but right. I guess last I can close in by asking about the Metal Gear Solid remake.
Go
like,
on.
we already need we need to say, like I said, the original games are being released as a collection, so that's pretty nice. But why calling the game Delta or at least Triangle, like instead of 3 remake? Silent Hill 2 is called Silent Hill 2 remake. So what with the weird naming?
My best. I'm sorry.
We also don't know if it's internally developed. We know that it's not Blue Point making this.
Alas.
So we'll have to see.
Well, we know it's coming to Xbox
and PC.
I
but
will.
We do not know yet a release date. Well, continue.
I legit wonder if the reason they renamed it to Delta is either A, they're planning to maybe remake the other games, but instead do them in complete chronological order, or B, again, they're just trying to justify releasing this alongside a collection that literally has a remastered version, or at least I assume it's going to be for the remastered, of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
We don't even know that if also what specifically versions of the game, particularly 2 and 3, will be attached to the Master Collection, if they are the PS2 originals or the versions that Blue Point took on, because again, each version does have something that was cut away or kept in. For example, the skateboard stuff from 2, or the, well, for the PlayStation version, the PS2 version, there were the monkey, the ape escape, People's Arrow mission, or the nightmare sequence. Again, we'll have to see what happens. Who knows? Again, it's interesting to see what Konami is doing with its IPs. Certainly better than a few years ago. We'll just have to see how it handles.
I'm just gonna wait for Castlevania.
Will we one day see a revival of Rocket Knight Adventures? Time will tell.
Yeah, I said this to the other speaks. If Getsu Fuma then can get a sequel all those years later without the original, having been officially translated until that point, I guess anything could happen at this point.
I mean, hell.
Hopefully not in the vein of like the Rocket Knight 2.5D game that came out in like 2008 or so.
Yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it from us. Again, sorry audience if this took, elongated a bit long, but some of these guests did not show up for years at this point. Tuning for whatever happens next.
See ya.
Bye.